just slowly making their way out of the gates at the far end of the ground. So at the halfway stage, Nottinghamshire made 360 in their first innings. It was an innings that twice looked to be on the brink of collapse, but was rescued in the end by 83 from Ollie Stone, coming in at 9 in the order. So 360, Notts getting 3 batting points, Somerset 3 bowling points. Somerset look to be on course in establishing a first innings lead. They are 67 behind though, so anything could happen still. They're 293 for 4. Tom Abell 105 not out. He'll resume his innings, looking to maybe push on and see if Somerset can get on top side of 400 on what's sure to be a very, very warm day for the bowling side and the fielding side. But we're going to get underway in a moment or two. Shortly we'll be joined by Grace Ballinger, the Charlotte Edwards Cup winning Blaze opening bowler. I'm Dave Brace-Curdle from BBC Radio Nottingham, and to my right, the voice of cricket in Somerset, the farmer's friend. A very good morning, Anthony Gibson.
Former farmer's friend, yeah. Good morning, Dave. Yeah, lovely day, hot day. I bet the Somerset bowlers will be rooting for their batsmen this morning. They'll want the batters to carry on for as long as possible, so they don't have to take the field, because it's going to be murderously hot out there in the middle. We're quite well protected here from the heat. We've got a nice open window. We haven't got the sun shining directly into the box, but I can tell you from having been out there at close of play last evening, it is blooming hot out in the middle.
Get underway in a moment or two with the bowling from the Radcliffe Road end. Dane Patterson, the South African international, returned to the Test ranks in February with that South African tour to New Zealand. Patterson to get us underway. This will be the 66th over of the innings, and in he comes to bowl to Tom Abell, who was pretty much flawless yesterday. Plays this out on the onside, and Will Young does the fielding. There's 2 slips. It's by and large a defensive field set by Asiba Mead. We've got a short boundary on the Bridgeford Road side of the ground, a really short one, 50 yards, 50 metres. I never get that with cricket, because they always say it's a 30-yard circle in white ball cricket, yeah. And then they talk about metres, how many metres the rope's back. But I think we had enough yesterday, didn't we, with centigrade and Fahrenheit. We won't go down metres and yards today, as this next delivery is pushed up to Asiba Mead at mid-off, and there's no run. 293 for 4 then, Somerset. Tom Abell 105, James Rew 35. Wickets in this innings have been shared around. The 2 main quicks, Dylan Pennington and Ollie Stone with a wicket apiece. Patterson's got 1, and the leg spinner Harrison with the other. There's a quick update. Well, we've just started on time here. Obviously another warm morning that's really going to be tough for the bowlers and the fielding side. That's Nottinghamshire, because Somerset at the crease resuming on 293 for 4. They're 67 behind. Notts bowled out for 360 in the early part of yesterday. Tom Abell still there on 105. Notts need to get rid of him quickly. 293 for 4.
And that last delivery just played pleasantly into the onside, but straight to Will Young at mid-wicket.
Crowd, I'd say at the moment, probably not as big as either days 1 or 2. Those that are here are in the shade as much as possible. Patterson again to the right-handed Abell, and this goes through to Tom Moores. The players out yesterday, Andy Umeed in the morning session, very early on in the innings actually, only made 4. The opener, Tom Kohler-Cadmore, hit a 6. That's not the done thing, old chap, right at the start of an innings in County Championship cricket, especially slamming Dane Patterson straight back over his head and into the pavilion for 6. He fell for 38. Tom Lammonby played beautifully for 87, and then Tom Banton, who'd sat there with his pads on for an absolute age, waiting to get to the crease, came and went, and can often be the case. Failed to trouble the scorers, as they say, as Patterson bowls again, and Abell eases this into the offside, and there's no run.
Tom Abell starting off as if he's settling in for a long stay. Not trying anything too flighty at the moment, just getting solidly in behind the ball.
We are in the 66th over of the innings, so that second new ball would be due around about 80 overs. Should Nottinghamshire want to take, well, it would be after 80 overs, should Nottinghamshire wish to take it. Bonus points, of course, can be accrued up until the end of the 110th over. Somerset 7 runs away from a second batting point. This is a really good delivery past the outside edge and through to the keeper. So we've begun with a maiden this morning. If you'd like to get in touch, we'd love to hear from you at AntGib for Anthony on the old Twittery thing. I'm at Brace Cricket. The medal-winning Blaze fast bowler Grace Ballinger is at Grace Ballinger 2. The headmaster's in the building as well, Kevin Howells. He'd love to hear from you. And you can find us online on the BBC Sport website and app, or there are pictures available via the live stream if you want to have a look at those. You're very, very welcome, and hope you enjoy the day's cricket with us here, also on 5 Sports Extra. Grace is in the house, we'll bring her in a moment, but first of all, here's Anthony.
Ollie Stone opening up from the Stuart Broad end, bowling to the left-handed James Rue, who is on 35, partnership worth 67 between these two. Oh, and this is in the air as he goes to turn that into the onside, gets a leading edge, and it just lobs up into the onside. But fortunately for James Rue, nowhere near any fielder, but my goodness me. Slightly nervy start. I wonder if that ball just stopped in the pitch. I think that's what James Rue is suggesting by just going down and giving the pitch a little bit of a prod. It's a pretty flat pitch, this, but just the occasional inconsistency of bounce. Stone is in and bowls, and Rue this time turns that much more comfortably into the onside, but again there won't be a run. Chatted to Tom Lammonby, close of play yesterday after his 87. He said batting was pretty hard work out there. Ball's not really coming onto the bat, and you've got to graft and grind for your runs, especially as Notts bowled pretty well all through what was a long hot day in the field for them. Here's Stone coming round the wicket to Rue down the leg side. Good take by Tom Moores. Tom Moores, who's given away 3 lots of leg byes, prompting an email from my personal statistician, Steve Pittard.
The first mention of the day for the trusty Steve.
From the Rose and Crown, better known as Eli's at Hewish Episcopi, which I'll bring you Steve's Tom Moore's stat in just a moment. Oh, and this one bounces on James Rue, and he plays it well, keeps it down well. Not sure whether it was glove or bat handle. Went down into the gully. It's the first run of the morning. No harm done. 294 for 4. Yep. Steve says before this match, Notts wicketkeeper Tom Moores had conceded on average 6.03 byes per innings in championship matches. This is the highest average, minimum 50 innings in modern times since 1990. The lowest average during that period is 2.1 byes per innings by Somerset's Rob Turner. Well, it's not a huge difference, 4 byes per innings. But, and 2 of the lots of 4 byes certainly weren't Tom Moore's fault. One, some quite sharp spin from Calvin Harrison as Stone is in and bowls to Abell, who plays and misses at one outside the off stump. and the other was a rather wild delivery from Ollie Stone, which flew down the leg side.
Does Steve have a lot of spare time on his hands?
Well, he's
some
retired.
Of the stats he comes up with.
He's a retired joint landlord now, so he does have a bit of time on his hands. Yeah. I don't know where he gets all of these figures from, but
I regard myself as being pretty sad in some of the stats I look up, but we've not got round to wicket-keeping buys in modern times.
Is Ollie Stone into Tom Abell. Plays that watchfully out into the offside. Second over of the morning, just the one run. That one off the shoulder of James Rue's bat. A ball from Ollie Stone that bounced on him. 294 for 4. We've had 87 overs. So another 23 overs in which Somerset can accrue batting points or not bowling points. Notts need another 2 wickets for a second bowling point. Somerset need 6 for a second batting point and 56 for a third. Not sure they're going to get to 400 inside 110 overs for a fourth.
We'll have to see. Thank you, Anthony. We've been at 2 for days 1 and 2, although we've had some lovely guests pop in. We're at 3 this morning. We've got, I was going to say the medal wearing, because she probably should be wearing her medal. Bring her in after this ball. Dame Patterson bowls, and it's defended out onto the offside. A very good morning, Grace Ballinger. A troublesome start to the day, I understand, for you.
Yes, troublesome indeed. Well, it kind of reached its peak yesterday when my car failed its MOT and has a grand's worth of fixing. So I think that was probably the start of it, and then the crash in Loughborough meant the bus was delayed. But I'm here now, Dave, and so glad to be with you on this lovely, is it a Tuesday? Lovely Tuesday morning.
Want to know where the medal is? 294 for 4. James Rue on 36, left-handed Somerset wicket-keeper batter. This goes through to Moores, just shouldered arm.
It's in my bag, Dave.
Lovely. We'll look forward to seeing that a little later on. How was the weekend? Let's start at the end of the weekend. How were the celebrations?
Yeah, they were good. It was obviously a pretty late finish. Final started at 7, so I don't think we finished with all the ceremonies and stuff about 10:30. But yeah, we stayed in Notts, so definitely had a good night.
Well, you were in Derby, weren't you? The final.
Yeah, final was in Derby. Yeah.
So it was the Charlotte Edwards Cup Finals Day, I guess the equivalent of the Blast Finals Day. You beat Central Sparks in the semi-final in the morning. As Patterson passed umpire Malinder. Rue turns it on the leg side. Lots of noise, as we had yesterday, coming from the Dave Bracegirdle Retirement Departments away to our right. A monstrosity that's blotting out the skyline as we look across the road there. But I think they've been laying the car park. We had the steamrollers doing the car park yesterday.
Steamroller?
Well, what was it? Was it?
Steamroller. Steamrollers went out of fashion some time ago.
Settle. Well, what was it? It was a heavy roller.
If I
said a heavy roller,
yeah.
listeners would think
Not
it was
steam-powered, though.
It was a cricket heavy roller, as Rue defends. It was more like an old-fashioned traction engine steamroller. So you won the your semi-final in the morning, and then had to sit about all day, or what happened from then on?
Yes, it's about all day is pretty much exactly right. Weren't allowed our phones back either, Dave, so I had 12 hours without my phone.
That, I would imagine, would have been absolute purgatory for you.
Yeah, it was a struggle, but made it through. Won the final, and here I am now. First trophy is the Blaze.
Very good. There's Patterson. It's the 88th over. Very good morning if you're just joining us as Patterson bowls, and Rue has got something on this, and it's going to be 4 somethings. We'll just have a look at Neil Malinder. It is 4 runs to James Rue down the leg side. We've got a full teapot from the bowler Dane Patterson, both hands on hips there. He's looking with mock disgust at how that managed to just squeeze under the bottom edge and race down to the ropes in front of the pavilion for 4, and Somerset are within 2 of their 300. 298 for 4, and James Rue just gone under the radar a little bit, Anthony. He's made his way to 40 quite nicely.
Yes, he has. Yeah. Yes, and he needs some runs as well. Needs to re-establish his place in the England wicket-keeping pecking order.
Which there are about 19 in the queue. 298 for 4. It's defended out onto the leg side end of the, what's that, third over of the morning. Somerset 298 for 4, having been gone on 293 for 4. Anthony will talk you through the next over, but more, again, we need to know. We need to know how the day went. What else can you tell us?
I mean, it was pretty sunny. I don't want to give you a ball by ball. I'm sure that would be very tiresome. Yeah, it was good. We were pretty dominant in both games, to be honest with you.
Were you delighted? Come on, tell the truth.
Absolutely, yeah.
No, were you delighted the Vipers lost the second
absolutely,
semi-final?
yeah. Absolutely. We did not want to be playing those in the final. It was good to see them gone.
Yeah. That's what I like.
I think I speak on behalf of everyone in the league when we say that, to be perfectly indiscreet.
We'll cut and keep
I'll pass
that
on to Emily Windsor when
yeah.
next year.
We'll cut and keep that one.
Here's Ollie Stone to Tom Abell, who hasn't added to his overnight, and very nearly the end of Tom Abell. Hasn't added to his overnight score of 105, and that one got a little bit of bounce and carry through to Tom Moore's past Tom Abell's outside edge.
Is that because you feared the Vipers as being the strongest side, or there's a bit of niggle?
I don't think we fear them. I mean, they finished third in the table, so they weren't the best side there by any means, but they did have a good side out for finals day, and it's just good to take a trophy away from someone and not even give them a sniff in the final, to be honest.
Stone in and bowls to Abell, who tries to duck out of the way, and the ball actually hits his bat and makes its way down to fine leg.
I thought it was helmet.
No, bat, I think.
No, he's given leg buys, Anthony. He's signalled leg buys.
Has he?
Yeah, I thought it was helmet. Yeah, we're going to get the physio on, I'm sure.
I thought
he's given leg buys.
You're right. Yeah, absolutely right. It's 300s on the board.
Yeah, it's a nasty ball, wasn't it? And I don't think he played it all that well. Let's just hope he's okay. I mean, he's on his feet and just chatting to everybody there, Tom Abell. But yeah, the helmet is off. So
it was a quick delivery as well.
It was a Grace Ballinger type delivery.
Don't think that's a compliment to Ollie Stone.
No.
Here comes Jamie Thorpe, the Somerset physio, to do the HIA for Tom Abell.
What's that?
Head injury assessment.
Oh, right. I was trying to make that hit in the head, but it didn't work. Elsewhere in Division 1, Essex 256 for 4. Chelmsford, Durham made 587. Lancashire going along nicely, 404 for 4. 150 for Luke Wells out yesterday. Josh Bohannon still there on 183. Hampshire, second innings at Edgbaston, 94 for 2 against the Bears. They lead by 138. And at New Road, Worcestershire, still only 7 down as they were overnight, 155 on the board against the champions who racked up 490. That's Surrey. Division 2, whilst this HIA is going on. Glamorgan 397 for 8. Responding to Northants 279 at Cardiff. At headquarters, Derbyshire 316 for 4 against Middlesex. At Hove, Sussex 79 for 2 against the Foxes in their second innings, leading Leicestershire by 246. And the pride of the West Country, Gloucestershire 180 for 8, replying to Yorkshire's 456 at Scarborough.
Yeah, and still no outcome. Jamie Thorpe still chatting away to Tom Abell, but he's put his helmet back on, which from a Somerset point of view is encouraging, and I think he's going to carry on. That doesn't, of course, necessarily mean that he isn't suffering from concussion. Up at Chester Street when Miguel Pretorius was hit on the head.
302 for 4. I think we're okay. I think we're going to get underway.
Pretorius was hit on the head. He carried on initially, and then at lunchtime, he was found to be fast asleep in the dressing room, and the Somerset coaching staff decided that he wasn't fit to continue.
That was who, Anthony? Pretorius, yeah. Crikey. But he just fancied having a nap, hopefully.
No, he was quite badly concussed, in fact. It took him some time to recover. And this is a pull shot from Tom Abell, or a hook shot, really, down to Dylan Pennington for Abell's first run of the morning. Moves on to 106 and probably be quite glad to get up the non-striker's end away from the hostility of Ollie Stone. 303 for 4.
Is it sweeter, Grace, getting the win after coming so close last year? And in truth, a poor start to this season in the Rachel Hare.
Yeah, an absolutely terrible start to the season. Yeah, it definitely felt good. We felt like we should have gone one better last year, so to do it this year was definitely special.
Stone into Rue, punches this into the offside, but can't get it past.
I think we would have liked to have beat Vipers in the final. I mean, they beat us twice last year, so it would have been nice to kind of do that, but can't complain winning a trophy, can you? We just wanted to get that back and bring it back to Trent Bridge, which we have done.
And I would imagine, we know she skippers you with a rod of iron, but I guess you'd all have been pleased for Kirsty as well, the captain.
Absolutely, so well deserved, and it was so nice to see how it meant so much to her as well. I've got some good photos to show you, actually, Brace, of Kirsty.
Ooh. Ollie Stone just losing his runner. I think he may have... I don't know whether he's just got something in his eye.
Yeah, he's okay.
Perhaps a little bit, perhaps the sweat ran down his forehead into his eyes as he was running in.
Just having vivid flashbacks to last year. Saw him run in a couple of times, and we didn't see much more of him last season after that. But pulling out halfway through his run up. But yeah, I think he probably just got a fly in the eye.
Something like that. Tries again. Passed on by Debenham in and bowls, and James Rue gets one that doesn't bounce quite so much and defends it out into the offside, and Will Young quickly in to do the fielding.
The girls all go the separate ways now. Is there anything else Blaze connected before the 100?
There is, yeah. We've got 4 more Rachel Hayhoe Flint games, which is the 50 over competition, and hopefully we'll continue the form from the T20 comp into that and kind of make our way back up the table. I think we might be bottom at the moment. But we won't end up there. We won't end up bottom.
Last ball of the over. Stone to Rue. Turns this nicely away through the onside, but it'll just be a single as Ben Slater is patrolling the boundary at the bottom end of the Smith-Cooper stand. So an eventful over. Ends with Somerset on 304 for 4, 41 to James Rue, and 106 to Tom Abell.
And, you know, I'm sure there are people out there a little bit sceptical about all this, Blaze this, Blaze that, or whatever. But your fan base is growing. I know that I've spoken to a lot of people who were there at Derby on Saturday. You had a great following. In fact, all the sides did. Yeah,
absolutely. I think that's one of the best things that have come from our move to Trent Bridge. We really feel like kind of the Notts fans have kind of grown and kind of got stuck into the Blaze connection, and yeah, it's great.
There's Patterson round the wicket to the left-handed Rue, pushes this up to mid-off, no run.
Obviously helped being at Derbyshire as well. It's one of our home grounds. It's obviously not our first home ground, which is Trent Bridge, but we represent the whole of the East Midlands, so to have it kind of, it's only 25 minutes down the road, isn't it, Derby? So it was a really great day, to be honest, really enjoyable. Have all the friends and family there too.
Was it a long old afternoon watching the other game? I know you said you didn't have your phone, so I would imagine it was almost, as I say, purgatory for you. But you know, how did you spend your time?
Just lying on the boundary in the sun, eyes closed.
The ideal preparation, it sounds. Patterson, bouncer, pulled away by Rue onto the leg side. That's got the field set deep there. 305 for 4. I'm afraid, Anthony, this isn't a not Somerset comment, but I'm afraid it looks like it's going to be a day very similar to yesterday, where it's just going to be so hard for the bowlers.
Yeah, Ollie Stone's getting something out of this pitch, though. A couple that have bounced and shown good carry, one or two that kept low as well. Yeah,
I think that's maybe because the ball's still new. It's only 9 overs old. Nice looking shot from Abell onto the leg side, but I just fear once that initial hardness has gone that this might be difficult for all concerned out there. 306 for 4 here at Trent Bridge. Oh, it's not the end of the over, you idiot. They're just swapping over for the left-hander. James Rue on 42. This partnership now worth 80.
They batted well together. Left-hand, right-hand combination, of course, always helps. Makes it much more difficult for the bowlers to get in the groove.
Patterson staying round the wicket to Rue, who pushes this up to mid-off. Fielded by Dylan Pennington. One of, what have we got today? 1, 2, 3, 4. Looking down for long leg.
Calvin Harrison's going to come on to bowl soon. I hereby predict.
4 floppies on us today. I think they've gone up in increments over the 3 days, haven't we? I think we had 2 on the first day, 3 yesterday, 4 today. Joe Clark coming out of first slip, going to drop in and reinforce the leg side. So there is just the 1 slip. Calvin Harrison, who
he's almost in a catching position there. Joe Clark. So maybe some short stuff.
Square the wicket on the leg side, about 4 strips away from the one we're playing on. Not going to catch that because Ruiz timed it sweetly up to Pennington at mid-off. Calvin Harrison had a long old bowl yesterday. Was it 25 on the spin either side of tee?
Bowled very well after tea, I thought.
Got his reward, the 1 wicket of spin. Went to Tom, he got the wicket of Tom Banton.
Good ball that was. Bit of lift, bit of turn.
306 for 4. Final ball of the over. Patterson bowls, Rue leaves it alone. So Somerset 54 adrift. They lead Notts in terms of bonus points now by 5 to 4. We'll be sure to pop those photographs of Grace and her medal on social media at Praise Cricket a little later on as well, and you can get in touch with Grace if you wish at Grace Ballinger too, and we'd love to hear from anybody who wants to get in touch. Brian, first of all, raised a point. Listening overseas, Dave, we still can't get the commentary, and I thought that had been fixed overseas. And it is, Dave. He says thank you. I hadn't checked for some time. Perhaps it's been hidden there for a while. So can't remember, Brian, which part of the world you're listening to us, but he has found us on the BBC Sport website now.
Here's Stone to Abell, who gets into position to turn that into square leg, and maybe a little bit of leading edge. Time it just wanders away towards square leg. I wonder if he's feeling the effects of that blow on the helmet. Doesn't look particularly comfortable out there at the moment.
Doesn't. I mean, it's some pretty feisty bowling, isn't it? But to be fair to him, Tom Abell, he played that next shorter delivery quite nicely, the ball after. I can imagine it can be pretty daunting after, especially Ollie Stone running in at you. Short ball straight again after, but played it well.
Here comes Stone again. Bright sunshine into Abell, and he whips this away in the air for a time, but landing well short of Dylan Pennington down below us at long leg. Single is taken. Abell on to 108, 307 for 4.
Just to mark your card if you're following the game at the moment on 5 Sports Extra. I know at the end of the over, Kevin's going to whiz round some of the other games and catch up what's going on elsewhere. So clearly, if you want to follow Grace, Anthony and myself on the Not Somerset game. You know where to get us on the BBC Sport website and app, or on the live stream, which is currently showing a picture of Ollie Stone waving his hands and just moving his field about. But at the end of this, over 5 Sports Extra listeners will be off elsewhere to see what's going on, see if there's any wickets falling up and down the country. It's been a pretty good match for the batters so far. Some big scores racked up, and Tom Abell with 108 already. He'll be looking to really go on and make this one into a huge century if he can.
Ollie Stone then to James Rue. He's there and bowls, and good ball which is defended by Rue. It's Tom Abell, the last of Somerset's Toms. And Steve Pittard says, as Dave Bracegirdle pointed out, 230 runs were scored by Toms yesterday. However, this certainly isn't the highest aggregate by Toms in a day. For starters, in the 1960 Derbyshire against Gloucestershire match, Tom Hugh made 137, Tom Graveney 135, plundering 272 runs on the opening day.
Too much time on his hands.
That's a great stat. Thanks, Steve. Outside the off stump. And no shot from James Rue.
And for Somerset listeners, I guess for cricket listeners everywhere, we should say happy birthday to the great Victor. It's Vic Mark's
his
birthday today.
His birthday, is it?
Yeah. It is indeed.
Absolutely. You might very well be listening, actually.
Happy birthday, Victor. It's also Jason Gallions, a Nottinghamshire skipper of the relatively recent past.
Well, Vic's still gainfully employed on the Somerset live stream. As is pulled all along the ground by James Rue, it'll just be a single.
Didn't know there was another one, Grace. I've just been followed by Gaynor Ballinger.
Yeah, that's my mum. She had a good time on Saturday.
Morning, Mum. I hope the hangover wasn't too painful on Sunday morning.
She'll be alright.
Proud Mum. Terrific. 308 for 4. She'll soon unfollow me. There's not an awful lot of interest on there, it has to be said, Gaynor. Has to be said. There'll be a few expletives about Miami Dolphins losing during the winter, but not a lot else.
308 for 4. Stone is into Abell. Himself on his toes, getting on top of the bounce. Playing it into the offside. End of the over, which was the 6th over of the morning. And Somerset have moved on. Well, they've crept on from 293 for 4 to 308 for 4.
We'll keep Grace gainfully employed now with a spell of commentary from this end. Doesn't last long, Grace, with Calvin Harrison whizzing through his overs. We sort of commented yesterday, didn't we? It can't be a deal of fun for the quick bowlers when you're putting all that effort and energy in, and you've got Calvin Harrison at the other end flying through his overs in 90 seconds, and then the likes of Stone and Pennington they've only just got down to long leg or mid-on or mid-off or wherever they're fielding, and you're straight away back on again.
Absolutely, especially on a warm day today. Like today, I think it's going to reach up to 27 degrees, Dave. I can't imagine the Steamers will be having 2 longer spells. Fresh off the back of the T20 comp, they've been used to bowling 4 overs, and now they're being asked to bowl 4,000 in a day. So we'll see how that goes, and I'm not surprised Calvin Harrison's been brought into the attack after just 6 overs in the day.
I guess 50 overs aside is going to seem like forever for you at the moment, just readjusting after 20 over cricket.
Absolutely, I think the 6 over spell could kill me off on Sunday, to be honest.
Where are you at on Sunday?
We're at Beckenham, absolute bowler's graveyard. So
I've not been there. I've not been there at all.
Been there too many times.
You've been,
Dave.
Anthony, I presume?
No, I haven't. No, but Grace is quite right. I mean, quite a few batting records have been set at Beckenham.
Should do all right there, but don't get much out of it. It's a batter's game, isn't it? I think I say it every time I come on. It's a batter's game. All
Well,
this
certainly
white ball
limited
stuff.
white ball cricket certainly is, isn't it?
Will be Calvin Harrison. James Root to face the first ball, slip in play for the left-hander, and this one's 2 full and driven into the offside, but into the hands of backward point.
Tom Lammonby, when I spoke to him last evening, was saying it's quite awkward for the left-handers against Calvin Harrison because he's pitching into the rough outside their off stumps. And he's more of a threat to the left-handers, i.e. James Rue, than to the right-handers. So, Notts will want to keep James Rue down at that end as much as possible. And similarly, Somerset need to keep rotating the strike.
Short boundary there towards the Smith-Cooper stand on the offside for the left-handed James Rue, but obviously a very short leg side boundary there for Tom Abell, who's 108 not out. Just a bit of a pause in play, but Calvin Harrison back at the end of his mark. In, and this is a good length delivery. Rue forward in defence, plays that watchfully. See Dylan Pennington going through his warm-ups there at mid-on. No doubt
I guess
we'll
that's going to be
seeing
the pattern, isn't it, with Harrison from one end and then the quicks being rotated from the Stuart Broad end.
There has been a bit of cloud cover now as this one's full, and again Rue defends. It wasn't actually too sunny yesterday, was it? It was just quite humid throughout the entire day.
Sultry.
Sticky.
2 great adjectives. Harrison in again, wrestling through his overs. This one hits the front pad and there's a big appeal, but nothing.
Well, he was certainly playing a shot, and as he takes an off-stump guard, his pad was almost certainly outside the off-stump, and that ball made contact with it. It's not to say it wouldn't have gone on to hit the stumps, but
Harrison again, and this time Rue back and across, and again hits him on the pad but outside the line.
yeah, you can see already how it is tricky for the left-hander facing the leg spin. Harrison pitching into that rough.
Harrison again, an attempted reverse sweep and a half-hearted appeal, but a bit of an outlandish shot there by Rue to finish the over, but a dot nonetheless. A ripple of applause from the Trent Bridge fans. That was a good first over from Calvin Harrison. Somerset 308 for 4.
There'll be a lot of runs scored today, I've no doubt about that, but not quite as many as on this day in 1921 on here. It's the day when Charles McCartney, the Australian in a tour match, when we were talking about tour matches yesterday in Notts v Australia, Charles McCartney made 345 in a day here for the touring Australians, and the relevance of that, or well, not particularly relevance, but the record status of that is it's the highest individual score by any bat ever here at Trent Bridge on this day, 1921, 345 for Charles McCartney.
Warwick Armstrong's Australian side.
Yeah.
They whitewashed England, won all 5 test matches. This is turned into the onside by Tom Abell.
There's more. 1956, Alan Walker, who was an Australian, the last man to get 4 wickets in 4 balls in a county championship game for Notts against Leicestershire. And the only other thing, it's also happy birthday to Tom Keast, who's 26 today. Now, Tom Keast was Notts' second 11 keeper for a number of years. Came through the system, and was another one that was sort of in the line. I'll come back to him in a second.
It's Stone to Abell with a good ball, solidly defended, no run.
2018 pre-season friendly, but a first-class match. The pre-season first-class match, I want to call them a friendly. Pre-season first-class match at Fenners, Cambridge University MCCU versus Notts. Tom Moore's injured at the start of the season. Tom Keast to make his Nottinghamshire debut in the side he was going to play. It rained for 4 days. They didn't get to the toss, so he doesn't get a first-class appearance and never has. And now he's still playing club, and I think he's playing minor counties for Lincolnshire, but never got that opportunity in first-class cricket after his one game was washed out.
Stone to Abell, and Abell defends. I've had a tweet from Dave from Cork. Morning, Dave. Morning, he says, young Mr. Bracegirdle and Gibson. Can I ask if you've ever done any scoring of cricket matches? Well, I was the BBC's number 2 scorer for about 14 years. Number 2 to Bill Frindle. Because if you have, you know that every batter troubles the scorer.
It was me that said that, and Tong was very firmly in cheek, because we all know how much trouble is involved.
There's Stone into Abell. Ooh, I thought he got a nick on that. Good ball from Ollie Stone, quick ball as well. And he's not looking at all settled, Tom Abell, at the moment. Hasn't rediscovered yesterday's rhythm. Disconcerted, obviously, discombobulated by that blow on the helmet.
Yeah, he's only added 3 in, 37 minutes this morning?
Yeah, he's finding it hard going. Ollie Stone scenting blood from the Stuart, not literally, metaphorically. He's into Abell, gets another good ball on his off stump, has to play it defensively, running a good line at good pace is Ollie Stone. Fancy he's half a yard quicker today than he was yesterday. With the ball now, it's in its 13th over, so it's still reasonably hard. Crowd just building up as Stone is in, bowls to Abell, who drives and gets a thick edge down to third man where Patterson fields. It is the end of the over. 309 for 4. Looks to me, Dave, like there might be another school party over there, all dressed up in their bright red school uniforms, which is good to see.
Lovely to see them, absolutely lovely. And if there's anybody on the ground can let us know who they are, we'll be delighted to give them and their, no doubt, the teachers, cricket master, whoever's brought them along, a shout out. Mark the Mod in Sevenoaks says, get Benny Slats on, Ben Slater. Get him on for a bowl. What do you reckon, Grace?
I don't know if I've ever seen him bowl. What does he bowl?
It's a rare treat. Off spinners off a couple of paces.
Harrison in, and this one fallen on the leg side and turned towards that short boundary by Rui. Gets off strike, first ball the over.
I did have him penciled in, as Anthony will tell you, for the 80th over yesterday, but it didn't happen. They didn't turn to him.
Well, I'd like to have a look. Maybe I've seen him bowl once or twice. I'm not sure. Does he bowl right arm?
Yeah, right arm off spin. He works hard at it. So they tell us.
Harrison in again, and this is a good delivery. Rui forward, watchfully. Was it Tom Abell that faced that first ball?
It was, yeah. He missed out his full toss. He should have hit it for 4.
It was a couple of years ago. He got his maiden first-class wicket against Derbyshire, and Alex Thompson. He was out-stumped. I'll tell you in a second.
Harrison bowls, and again, Rui forward in defence, and he gets an inside edge which goes into the vacant 45 gap, and he'll scamper off strike.
And it came charging down the track at Slater. Obviously, he's not going to bowl to me, and missed it, and was stumped. And obviously, he was absolutely mobbed by his teammates and delighted and made him first last wicket, and then at the end I had him going that it has to go down as a run out because he was that far down.
Harrison in, and this one slightly shorter and punched off the back foot. A rare misfield off his own bowling by Harrison, and Abell will run a quick single. Well ran there between Somerset
well
pair.
judged, wasn't it? Just Patterson just a little bit back on his heels at mid-on.
Mark the Mod. It's all well and good mentioning Tom, because we've got a lot of Toms. Say what he said in a moment.
Harrison back round the wickets to the left-hander, and again Rue forward.
Mark the Mod in Kent. This is where I chip in, Dave, that I used to work with Tom's dad at Taunton School back in the day. Lovely chap. Can Anthony name the former Wisden Young Cricketer of the Year who was head of cricket there in the 90s?
Harrison bowls and another reverse sweep attempt. Misses just about everything. Rolls off. I think it must have been the pad, and one run taken.
Would this be Tom Abell he's referring to?
Yeah. Tom Abell's father was housemaster
at Taunton School. Thanks, Mark the Mod. So who was the former Wisden Young Cricketer of the Year who was head of cricket in the 90s at Taunton School? 313 for 4 at the end of the over.
Harvey Trump, but I'm not sure about that.
Ooh.
I'm not sure he would have been. Well, he might have been Young Cricketer of the Year. Who knows?
Yeah, Mark the Mod says, yeah, Tom Abell, Dave. Thank you. 313 for 4. Knots over 8, -1, despite all those Harrison overs yesterday. Ollie Stone out of the attack. Going to be Dylan Pennington, 17 overs, 1 for 45. There's more red-shirted, red-topped youngsters coming. There's a flag at the back of the stand there. Let me have a little look, see what that flag's all about. Is that a Somerset flag, Anthony? Of some description. It is, yes. It's the maroon with the wyvern in the middle. SCCCCC.
Bowls and Rue. I'm not rising to it. Rue defends. That must be. That's where Tractor Driver and Co are up there.
Did you have a nice evening, Anthony? When you'd left me, you were going off to find the big shed and watch a bit of Italian football, weren't you?
I was. Yep. I walked back along the canal and stopped off at the Trent Navigation.
It's nice there.
It is. Yep. Splendid pub, and had a steak nail pie for my supper. And wandered back to the hotel. This is played defensively into the onside.
It's known as, obviously, its proximity to the sports grounds for getting the sports fans here and there, the big screen. Were there many in there watching the footy?
Decent number. I mean, it wasn't crowded at all,
right.
And it's a proper pub. Good beer, good pub food, and a nice atmosphere.
Did you see the big murals of Jimmy Cyril and Brian Clough?
Yeah. Is Pennington in bowls and Rue defends.
I know they're not murals, but that was Hilda. Was it Hilda Ogden and Coronation Street?
Yeah, I think so.
Murals on the wall.
It must be going on a tour of the ground. I think those school boys, are they all boys? There were one or two girls as well.
It was lovely to see them yesterday. The school party that was here, and then get out on the outfield, doing a bit of a Grace Ballinger at lunchtime.
Pennington bowls and Rue defends. I think Abell and Rue will be glad to see the back of Ollie Stone for the time being.
There was a young girl yesterday. She had a pink one of those bucket hats on, and she wasn't here for the cricket. She was here to show how good at cartwheels she was. She spent all of lunchtime cartwheeling on the outfield. It was lovely to see. She was enjoying herself, but get her in the Olympics.
That's the classic when you coach softball cricket and there's just a few of the girls just cartwheeling around the outfield. Their dad's definitely forced them there. They're not interested. It's nice to see nonetheless.
Pennington round the wicket to the left-handed Roo. Turns this nicely into the onside and just be a single there.
What did we start under? 293.
Yeah, 314 for 4, so they've added 21 in 1 ball less than 10 overs, so it's been slow going.
So they've got 15 overs left. 400s are looking a tall order in the 110.
No, they're not going to get to 400.
But I guess it's all about what they end up with at the end of the first innings. And
I think, yeah.
that will dictate how much pressure they can put on Not the second time around.
I think that's the main consideration. Abell gets a good ball from Dylan Pennington and plays it solidly, defensively, out into the offside. How did you get into playing cricket then, Grace?
Similar story to a lot of people, I think. My dad was a sportsman. He was a footballer and a bit of a cricketer as well, and he used to play, and I used to go and watch like when I was very young. He's long time retired from cricket, and then my older brother was a leg spinner, just kind of that way at my local cricket club. And then here I am. I was a Warwickshire girl. I'm from Birmingham, so spent 10 years or so in the Warwickshire system before moving over here about 5 years ago.
And did you watch it on television, or was it just purely playing cricket that appealed to you more than watching it?
I think it was more just playing, to be honest with you. Harrison in, and this one turned off the back foot by Roo, would just be a single out. Is that Lyndon James out there on the square leg boundary? Yeah. Is indeed number 8 on the back of his shirt, Lyndon James. Yeah, I was a big Warwickshire fan growing up. Now a fully fledged Not supporter, but yeah, I liked being out in the sun and playing, and I loved it growing up. Used to spend a lot of time at the local cricket club. Harrison into Abell, and this is a great delivery, struck on the pad and given. That will be the end of Abell, who, to be honest, has not managed to find the form that he had yesterday. He finishes on 111. That's a big wicket for Nott. Somerset 315 for 5.
Yeah, the googly, I think, which he didn't pick.
Nelson strikes. Well batted Tom Abell, who's at the crease for 5 hours. Faced 230 balls, 12 fours he hit. 111. He's only added 6 in 3/4 of an hour this morning, but also got one on the bonce from Ollie Stone. Let's hope there's no lasting damage. Clearly he wouldn't have been allowed to play on if there had been. And once again yesterday, as we saw when Ollie Stone got out early in the morning, a great ovation. I guess many of these were here yesterday and saw how well he batted yesterday.
Yeah. Very generous crowd here at Trent Bridge. Bumped into a former president of Somerset County Cricket Club this morning, Richard Parsons, and he said the hospitality that has been shown to the Somerset committee people up here is second to none. Second to none.
Second to none.
Yeah.
Even better than Kent's.
I think so. Yeah. Well, I mean,
it's a sore point, Kent. So no, you can't have a sandwich down here, Dave. Anyway, we'll don't get me on Canterbury.
You have to go to the local shop to buy your own. That's what happens to T20 cricket down at Canterbury.
That's right. That's what happens in Championship cricket. Go and buy your own. 315 for 5. With the new man Casey Aldridge, who got a 5-fer. He's already having an absolute cracking match here. Casey Aldridge, Grace, got a 5-fer. He really demolished the Nottinghamshire middle order on that first day. Notts were nicely set, and then Aldridge got 3 wickets in quick succession. And ended up with a 5-fer, got the last wicket yesterday morning, and now out there at number 7, very capable player. Let's see what he can do.
In comes Harrison then, right arm over the wicket, and the first ball's left and just turns and evades the off stump. He's get it to turn here, Calvin Harrison. I've been really impressed by him this season, Dave.
Yes, he's a cracking cracking cricketer. Called him the other day as well, the best fielder in the county game at the moment.
He's got to be up there, hasn't he? He's in again, and this one just played on the back foot by Aldridge in defence. He's taken some fantastic catches this season, hasn't he?
Really has.
Field absolutely anywhere as well, Dave. I think likes it most in the slip cord, and the final ball of the over is turned into the leg side, and it's a dot, and it's not the final ball of the over. There's actually one more remaining. Lyndon James goes out onto the boundary. Nottinghamshire happy to give Aldridge the strike to face Dylan Pennington at the other end. Joins Rue, 47 not out. Harrison in, and again Aldridge happy to defend and take no run. Somerset 315 for 5.
Balls for Calvin Harrison, end of successful over for him. 28 overs, 2 maidens, 2 for 93. Oh, the leg spinner. Tom Abell again at the crease. 5 hours for that splendid century. 315 for 5. Somerset. They still trail by 45. All along I've been saying they're going to build up quite a substantial lead here, or it seems like it is, but it's one thing saying it, they've still got to get there, haven't they?
Knots are through to the all-rounders now. Here comes Pennington to Rue. Defends. Casey Aldridge with the bat this season. This is his 4th game. He scored 108 runs, best of 57. That was down at Canterbury, averaging 27. He does have a first-class 100 to his name, although it was one scored under unusual circumstances at Old Trafford last season when Lancashire were bowling their batsmen.
Oh.
Pennington in and bowls, and there'll be a run here down to backward point for James Rue, 316 for 5. They were bowling their batsmen in protest at Somerset's refusal to declare.
Yes. Yeah, I remember. Well, the headlines, obviously, that arose from that.
And Aldridge and Rue put together a big partnership on a very flat wicket at Old Trafford. Yeah, that century was Tom Abell's 15th in first-class cricket, to go with 34 50s. He's yet to make a really big one, his highest 151. Pennington to Aldridge, back and across. Goes Casey Aldridge. He's tall and strong. Tall, strong, fast bowler. Bowled a very good spell in mid-afternoon on the first day when he picked up 3 wickets. Finished with a fifer in the Notts' first innings. That was his 3rd for Somerset. His batting has improved enormously since he first came into the side, outside the off stump and through to tumbling Tom Moores.
Tumbling Tom. We talked yesterday about that match, the Young Lions playing England under 19. Well, it's obviously part of a series going on at Loughborough, which Grace knows well. Young Lions today playing Sri Lanka under 19. Young Lions batting 50 overs aside, 53 for 3 after 10. Archie Vaughan, who's skippering the Young Lions, out for 1. Thomas Rue is playing in that game, is doing next. 57 for 3, the Young Lions in the 11th.
And is Rocky Flintoff in that side as well?
He played for England under 19.
Pennington in the bowls, and a brilliant catch by
Harrison.
Calvin Harrison at second slip. He almost anticipated that outside edge from Casey Aldridge, and he was moving to his right even as the ball seemed to hit the edge of the bat, and took it two-handed low down to his right, and that's the 6th Somerset wicket to go down. Casey Aldridge caught Harrison, bowled Pennington for just 1, 316 for 6.
Yeah, touching the Bantons about it. Sat there last night and this morning a long time with the pads on, and then in and out quickly. And Grace, you were just saying about what a good slip catcher he is.
Absolutely, what a fantastic catch. As you say, just diving so low to his right. It was a full stretch dive away from him, Harrison, and that's one of his better ones. Probably not the best because that's how good he is, but one of the better ones we've seen at Trent Bridge this season.
Yeah, actually, we think he put one down early on.
Much more difficult one.
Yeah.
But it was the anticipation there that impressed me, I must say.
Absolutely, and it will bring out Craig Overton to the crease.
Who made an unbeaten 95 when the sides met at Taunton earlier in the season, and we were a long way from the action, weren't we? But we saw, we could even see the intensity of his glare and stare towards Shoaib Bashir, who got out at the other end, the number 11.
He got out with a wild yahoo as well.
Yeah.
That Shoaib Bashir.
You knew he was giving him absolute daggers.
Overton just stalked off. Well, he's skippering Somerset in this game. Second time he's skippered them in a first-class game of cricket. The first time, as Craig informed Dave Briscoe before the start of play on Sunday, was in the Bob Willis at Leicester. That's before he was parachuted out of Leicester and into the England one-day side, because they had to pick an entirely new side because the original one had got COVID. Pennington then to Overton, and he strokes this down to third man, and that'll be 4 runs. Not sure that's entirely where he was aiming, but picks up 4 runs and 320 for 6. Somerset still 30 runs short of a third batting point, and 40 runs adrift of Nottinghamshire's first innings total.
Here, Dave, says Mark from Sevenoaks. Mark the Mod. Has Anthony given up on that question yet? Come on, ask him again. Who was the young cricketer of the year? He didn't play for England, he says. And I presume it's not Harvey Trump, otherwise, you know, that was your suggestion. So
I was going to say John Jameson was the other one, but John Jameson did play for England, so it certainly wasn't him. I don't know is the answer. I'm ashamed to say.
We've had something in from Jamie that might twig everybody.
Calvin Harrison's in, and this is hit through on the pad again, a half-hearted appeal, but he does look to be struggling here a bit.
Jamie's sent a suggestion.
Oh, I don't know who that is.
Well, that's Jamie says, is it Andy Kennedy?
It might be.
Harrison again, and taken down the leg side, might have just tickled off the pad of Rue there. Taken down the leg side by Moores.
Did he play for Somerset? He was a Lancashire man, wasn't he, Andrew Kennedy?
Yeah, he was. Andy, lovely guy, yeah.
Harrison in again, and has it come off the outside edge? It's a big appeal, and not given.
Tell you what, Notts could have done with that, couldn't they? Crikey, that would have, you know, blown away 5, 6 and 7 like that.
Absolutely, he's bowling well here, Calvin Harrison. He does seem to be causing Rue a bit of trouble, as you said, Anthony. Bit of trouble for the left-hander.
Mark the spot. X marks the spot.
In comes Harrison again, round the wicket to the left-hander. This one brings Rue forward into defence. He plays that late.
Jack Leach might be taking special interest in this all of a sudden.
Harrison bowls, and again watchfully Rue defence.
Not sure he's picking Calvin Harrison, James Rue, judging by the way he played that one, playing it off the pitch, right back on his stumps. And Tom Abell certainly didn't pick the Calvin Harrison googly.
Final ball of the over then, Harrison in, and this one slightly quicker and pushed into the offside by Rue. He'll get a single off the last ball of the over.
Mark the Mod has come back and said, yep, your correspondent's got it. It is Andrew Kennedy of Lancashire, he former Wisden Young Cricketer of the Year, and former cricket master at Taunton School in the 90s. Thank you, Mark the Mod. It's all those wickets that sort of interrupted Anthony's flow of thought.
I would never have got it in
No.
1,000 years.
T says that was another pigeon poach. Magnificent catch from Calvin Harrison. Thank you, T.
Right, Dylan Pennington to bowl another over. 251 he has in his 19 overs. Tall, blonde-haired, galloping in. He's there and bowls to Rue, and he's gone. He's took the outside edge, and a straightforward catch to Tom Moores. Good ball from Dylan Pennington, and too good for James Rue, who walks off with 49 to his name, missing out on a 50. There was bounce and movement from Dylan Pennington. Just took almost the shoulder of James Rue's bat. Comfortable catch to Tom Moores. 321 for 7.
Yeah, the crease for 2 hours. Faced 99 balls and hit 6 fours, and it's just 12 o'clock, so we've been playing for an hour this morning. An hour, 28 for 3.
Yeah.
And those 3 wickets have come very quickly, all of a sudden, over the last few minutes, and Somerset are still 39 behind.
Yeah, good applause again for James Rue as he makes his way back to the pavilion. And here comes Miguel Pretorius, the South African, who is an uncomplicated batsman. This could well, Somerset's still got Jack Leach to come. Where there's Leach, there's hope.
You'd imagine Overton and Pretorius, or I would imagine Overton Pretorius, won't want to get bogged down here and play the long game.
They're gonna play some shots, I think. But they need to bear in mind the that third batting point. 29 runs short of that at the moment, so don't give it away. But I think we can expect a bit of counter-attack from these two all-rounders.
Just been joined by listeners to 5 Sports Extra. 3 wickets have gone down fairly quickly here, as Somerset have slipped from 314 for 4, 315 for 4 to 321 for 7. Wickets just gone down, bringing Miguel Pretorius to the crease. Tom Abell has just gone for 111, followed by Casey Aldridge for 1, and now James Rue for 49. What's happening to your boys, Anthony Gibson?
Well, it's not exactly unusual. Somerset mid-order collapse. Pennington to Pretorius, who drives square of the wicket, but straight to Slater at cover point. Tall, strong man is Miguel Pretorius.
Almost come out of nothing, this, hasn't it? We've been saying all morning, or certainly I've been saying all morning, that Somerset are 400 bound. They're going to get a first innings lead, but that's not a given with only Jack Leach and Jake Ball to come.
Yeah. Pennington to Pretorius, taking on the pad. They think about it, leg by, or Pretorius sort of wanders up the pitch. There never was a leg by there.
There's 3 wickets whilst listeners to 5 Sports Extra have been away. Tom Abell giving out LBW to Calvin Harrison, the leg spinner, who's now toiled away for 29 overs, 2 for 94 his figures. Then Harrison, wonderful slip catch to dismiss Casey Aldridge from the bowling of Pennington, who then had James Rue caught behind for 49. An update for Radio Nottingham in just a second. Pennington bowls, and this is, there's a rare blemish from Asiba Mead. Just pushed into the covers, pushed crisply, admittedly. Asiba Mead going down, trying to sort of slightly off balance, trying to execute a long barrier, and the ball got underneath him, went away for 4 to the short side. 325 for 7. Radio Nottingham due to come to me in the next 4 or 5 seconds.
It's day 3 of Nottinghamshire's County Championship match against Somerset at Trent Bridge. Watching for us, Dave Bracegirdle.
Well, Notts have just had a very good 10 minutes. They've removed Tom Abell for 111, Casey Aldridge for 1, and James Rue for 49. 2 of those 3 wickets to Dylan Pennington, who's bowling at the moment. The match situation, Notts made 360 in their first innings. Could be neck and neck, because Somerset currently 325 for 7.
That last delivery just turned into the onside by Pretorius, who yet again looked as if he was going to set off for a single. This is Pretorius' 7th game for Somerset. He missed the first game down at Canterbury. Scored 214 runs at 26.7. Pennington in bowls, and he drives this on the bounce back to the bowler. But you can see the aggressive mindset already with him playing his shots. He goes and has a chat with his skipper, Craig Overton. 325 for 7. Pennington 20 overs, 3 maidens, 3 for 55.
Grace Ballinger's with us, the Blaze opening bowler, who somewhere on my person has got a Charlotte Edwards Cup winners medal. It's not, I saw the trophy. It's not a trophy that you can drink out of, is it?
It's not, no, but there was plenty of bottles of champagne that we could drink out of, Dave.
There were good scenes in the dressing room, I'd imagine.
Yeah.
And
We love a sing-song, don't we?
You like a sing-song? Have you got a winner's song?
Yeah, we got a couple.
Tell us, talk us through this, Ayla.
I would sing them, but I think we'd lose all our listeners. Calvin Harrison's in again, and this is short and a bit of a drag down in honesty, but Overton misses out, tries to smash it to that short boundary.
Tried to hit it too hard, Craig Overton.
We're all guilty of that every so often,
wait
aren't
for
we?
it a little bit, fraction of a second longer.
Harrison, be happy he got away just a dot with that delivery, and in again, and this is a better length delivery. Overton forward in defence.
Having a decent season with the bat, is Craig Overton, averaging 39.4. Admittedly with the 3 not outs to help.
Harrison in again and again. Overton defends. Hitting good channels here. Calvin Harrison into his 30th over of the match. He's picked up 2 wickets. Pennington 3. 1 slip in play for the right-hander, and this is off the back foot, and it is off the outside edge, but it evades first slip and will race away to the boundary. It shouldn't go for 4 as Young gives chase, and he does get it. Just 2 runs scored, I think that was, yeah.
Lord Lupin's been in touch at Brace Cricket. This should be fun. Looking forward to seeing Overton and Pretorius give it a little bit. Might well be. It's a bit of a risk, though, isn't it? You've got to be sure that you're reading Calvin Harrison before you do start to give him a little bit of long handle.
Harrison in again and again. Nice and full, and just passed it back towards mid-on. No run can be taken.
I'm not sure Miggy Pretorius will be concentrating too hard on reading him. It's more a question of see ball, hit ball with Pretorius.
Harrison bowls, and this one slightly shorter and pushed into the onside for a well-judged single by Overton. That's the end of the over. Somerset 328 for 7, closing down as they trail by 32 runs.
Whole dynamic has changed, hasn't it, with those 3 wickets? It's, what were they, 315 for 4. They were 46 behind, 6 wickets in the shed. Abell, an unbeaten century. Rue approaching his half century, and then 3-4 overs later, all 3, or those 2 and Casey Aldridge as well, all back in the hodge.
Well, I think Tom Abell was disconcerted by that blow on the head. Whether he was technically concussed or not, he didn't look the same batsman after he'd sustained it. And credit to Notts, I thought they bowled really well in the first hour this morning. Ollie Stone with genuine pace from one end, and then when Calvin Harrison came into the attack, sowing seeds of doubt with his leg breaks and googlies, here's Pennington into Craig Overton, who square cuts for 4. Handsome shot of the morning, 3:32 for 7. Not a particularly good delivery from Dylan Pennington, but nicely played by Craig Overton. There's still not much margin for error here for the quick bowlers on this slow pitch. A short boundary on the southern side of the ground, I suppose that is. Pennington in his 21st over. This is the 101st over of the innings. And there'll be more runs here for Overton. I think it's going to be cut. No, it isn't going to be cut off. Bang! You heard the ball hitting the boundary boards down below us. Down below our commentary box, which is... What's this magnificent building that we're sitting in actually called, Dave?
Well, it's the Radcliffe Road Stand.
Radcliffe Road Stand. It is a splendid sight from the other end of the ground. 3:36 for 7. 2 boundaries in the over to Craig Overton. Moves on to 15. Pennington in and bowls. And there's another run here for Overton. He just drops that into the offside. There's plenty of singles now with Overton and Pretorius to an extent having got the field set back with this little bit of a counter-attack. We've got 1, 2, 3 saving 1 in the covers and a mid-on, 2 slips and a go. Three men out. Pennington to Pretorius. And they go for a single here as it's wide of Ollie Stone at mid-on. 3:38 for 7.
Elsewhere, Paul Walters going along very nicely for Essex at Chelmsford. Tall Paul, they call him. He's 123 not out. Essex, who are in second place in the Division 1 table, are nearing a second batting point. They're 299 for 6, replying to Durham's 567 all out.
Pennington to Overton, who thinks of having a swish at a short ball outside his off stump, but pulls out wisely. It was well above his, not well above his head, but height, but well above his eye line.
Canterbury, where Kevin Howells has spent the last 2 days, Josh Bohannon is now out for 205. Kent 244, Lancashire 452 for 5. So already 200 runs to the good there, the Red Rose. Battle between 9th and 10th in the table.
Pennington to Overton. Overton punches this away for another 4. Looking for a fielder at deep backward point, but there isn't one. There's a third man, but point is up in the fielding circle. So that's another 4 to Craig Overton, who moves on to 20 in no time at all. 20 from 12 deliveries, and Somerset now within touching distance of a third batting point on 342 for 7.
Yes, I see Bermead's gone over to Dylan Pennington there. It seems like it's the sort of conversation, can you give me one more, or do you want to come out of the attack now? They're still chatting. Meanwhile, I can tell you that at Edgbaston, they're into the 3rd innings of that match. Hampshire 136 for 2, leading the Bears by 180. And at New Road, Worcestershire 189 for 9 now. Dan Lawrence, who yesterday Poor old Shoaib Bashir will be having nightmares about the name Dan Lawrence, but he's going well with the ball. He's got 3 for 49. Worcestershire 189 for 9, replying to Surrey's 490 all out. Yeah, 38 came from an over, most of them hit by Dan Lawrence, and apparently the second highest amount ever scored from an over.
38 from one over, Dave.
Yep.
38.
38, yep. First ball of Harrison's over was defended by Pretorius. Yeah, you've not got there yet, Grace, have you? 38 off one of your overs.
No. Make some of my expensive ones sound better as Harrison's in, and that's absolutely whacked, and it should go the full way. It does go the full way. 6 runs over long on. That's a fine shot on just his 6th ball, Pretorius. Don't think I could play that sort of shot after 6,000 deliveries, let alone 6, but a real counter-attack here. I think that's 12 off the over before from Pennington.
The bad news from Calvin Harrison is he's now got a gallon. He's gone for 100 with that 6. See batters bring up their 100 with a 6. It's not nice for the bowler, is it?
Harrison again rectifies on Ledden. Squares at Pretorius a bit, dot ball. Are you 38, 3-8?
Anthony, I think you've got all the details.
From memory, it was 5 wides, a no ball, a wide, and 5 sixes.
Oh no. So Harrison's in again, and Pretorius goes again, and this time for 4. I could not see that off the bat at all. Just goes towards Cal corner, and they're certainly taking it on here. The partnership's up to 31 here off just 21 deliveries, and that's the second boundary in the over from Calvin Harrison.
I think it was 5 sixes to start with, wasn't it? And everybody were thinking, this is it. This is going to be another Sobers and Shastri.
No, it was the 5 sixes were at the end of the over.
Were they? Okay.
Yeah.
352 for 7. So Somerset are 8 behind. They get with that boundary. Of course, they got another batting bonus point. They're 3rd. They lead Notts now 6-5 in points.
Harrison in again, and this time played unconvincingly by Pretorius.
It was dot, 3 no balls, 5 wides, 6, 6, 6, 6, 6.
Yeah, I think you're reading it though from the end of the over down to number 1. Yeah.
You're right.
Harrison in again, and short and cut away, and dived over by Haseeb Hamid, and it will race away towards that long boundary as Lyndon James gives chase but can't quite get there, and the 3rd boundary of the over sees the end of it. A very expensive 2 overs from Nottingham, both overs conceding 3 boundaries each. Somerset now 356 for 7.
Yeah, I wasn't pulling you up on your reading
skills
there. It's just the way it's been presented to us.
Exactly, yeah.
So it was 5 sixes, and
5 sixes.
And then what happened to the 6th ball?
The 6th ball was 5 wides.
Oh, is that to make sure he couldn't hit him for 6?
Then 3 no balls, no ball with the run taken off it, and then the last ball of the over was a dot.
He'll be all right, Shoaib Bashir.
Right. Somebody on Twitter said that he hoped that somebody from the club had been in touch just to offer commiserations.
It happened to Stuart Broad, and he didn't have a bad career, did he? Was it you, Reg, who got after Broady in the white ball?
Yeah. Well, Somerset just 4 runs adrift now. It's a belligerent partnership of 35 from 23 deliveries. As expected, Pennington still got 2 slips as somebody's moving on the outside the players' dressing rooms, and Craig Overton spotting it. Not sure who that is. It's one of the Somerset coaching staff, I think, and he just raises his hand in apology. Quite right too. Pennington tries again. Overton's on 20. He's there in bowls. And appeal for LBW, and he's given. That's the end of Craig Overton. Ben Debenham had a good think about that before raising the finger. The batsman had almost crossed for the leg by, but up the finger duly went, and that's 3.56 now for 8. Craig Overton, LBW to Pennington for 20. Scored off just 13 deliveries with 4 fours. And it will bring, I assume, Jack Leach to the wicket.
And it will be, whatever happens now, Dylan Pennington's best figures for Nottinghamshire. He's had, just quickly, 3 for 62 against Worcestershire, 3 for 74 against Warwick. Oh no, I beg your pardon. Against Lancashire here, he got 7 in the match, 3 for 68 and 4 for 61. So I've lost his figures for a moment. We'll have a little look at that. And 3 for 70 against Hampshire and 3 for 25 against Worcestershire. So he's regularly been chipping in with threes. He does have a 4 for 61. Again, we've only got Craig Overton's figures on the board. And it is Jack Leach going to be coming out to the crease. We'll see what Pennington's got at the moment. But he is Nottinghamshire's leading wicket taker this season. 28 wickets at about 23 apiece. Really had an impact in this spell. 3 of his 4 wickets coming in this spell. Don't know what Jake Ball will make of being relegated to number 11 in the Somerset order behind Jack Leach. Pennington's figures 4 for 69, so he needs this 5th or indeed the 6th wicket to get his best figures for Nottinghamshire. 4 for 69 with 2 to go. 3.56 for 8.
Jack Leach, this will be only his 4th innings in his 3rd match in the county championship, because he wasn't available during April, recovering from that leg injury that he suffered in the test match at Hyderabad. But he scored 39 runs, best of 21 not out, and he scored 100 opening the innings for Somerset Seconds last week. Pennington to Leach, off the mark straight away, tucking it down to deep square leg. Where Slater fields. 3.57 for 8.
I don't think Calvin Harrison will mind having another left-hander out there to bowl at.
No, true. How many left-handers have Notts got?
Tom
Will Young?
No. Ben Slater, obviously, at the top of the order, and Tom Moores.
Is Pennington to Pretorius, who stands up tall and drives that to Hasib Hamid at mid-off.
Kelvin's been in touch as I was listening to you this morning, enjoying the commentary. Heard you mention the name Keast, Dave. Got me thinking, it seems that I coached his cousin. Mr. Keast's uncle, JD's dad, was involved with Slaz injury, supplied some kit for my juniors raffle back in the day. Thank you, Kelvin. Lovely to hear from you.
Pennington to Pretorius, who hits this harder, but in exactly the same direction, straight to Hasib Hamid. It's stand and deliver batting from Miguel Pretorius. He's got a good eye. He's a strong man. And if the ball is in his zone, he's going to play his shots.
You know, we talked about Tom Keast earlier. It's his birthday today. He was on the Notts staff for quite a while. Didn't get the opportunity for the first class game. The one time he was selected, the match was abandoned, so it didn't count.
Pennington bowls and goes for the pull shot as Pretorius comes off the bottom edge and pick up a single. 3.58 for 8. Pretorius on to 20 from just 15 deliveries. Rehearses the shot.
Yes, against Cambridge MCCU side at Fenners in 2018, he was selected as the Notts wicketkeeper. Tom Moores was injured, and Didn't even get as far as having the toss. It rained every day of the match. He didn't get what would have been his one and only first class appearance.
Pennington around the wicket to Leach. Ooh, and takes Leach amidships. Ooh, dear, 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 dear. Poor old Shaq. Ooh. Ooh, he's down.
Yeah, he's trying to gulp in some air.
Oh, dear, dear, dear.
Neil Minder's trying to while he's waving on the Somerset physio. Again, it's the case the physio gets out there and, well, what do you expect me to do? You're going to have to rub it yourself.
It's
actually
awful, sickening feeling, isn't it?
It actually is rubbing around about his belly button area.
Yeah, I think it's sort of, I don't think it was in the famous bread basket, but just a little bit higher, but very nasty all the same. But he's a tough lad, is Jack Leach. Good old Taunton boy.
Not giving you Division 2 scores, I don't think, for ages. Glamorgan 459 for 9. That's at home to Northants, so a lead of 180 there for the Welsh county. Middlesex started their second innings. They're 4 for 1. That's a lead of 98 over Derbyshire. At Hove, where it was free on the first day, Sussex 158 for 3 against the Foxes. They lead by 326, so Sussex in a very strong position there. And Gloucestershire 10 for 1 at Scarborough. They've been made to follow on against Yorkshire, 249 still adrift there. So things going well for Yorkshire after that treble century opening partnership on the opening day between Adam Lyth and Finlay Bean.
Well, I fancy Yorkshire will be back where they belong next season in the First Division.
Harrison in, and this one defended by Pretorius. He's 20 not out off 16 deliveries.
Don't know.
We got a long on in now and a long off as well. So
deep covered defensive field then, and this one's reverse swept and played very nicely by Pretorius. He doesn't even bother attempting to run. So that races away to the boundary. And
Somerset are in the lead.
I'll be naughty, Anthony, and say we'll have a friendly sixpence on that. Yorkshire is 7th out of 8 in Division 2 at the moment. I don't think they will be promoted this year. They're a long way. I mean, Sussex and Middlesex, top 2 into 3 figures. Yorkshire only 77 points.
A good side.
as Harrison's in, and this one short and down leg side, and
oh dear.
Pretorius definitely misses out there. It's probably the worst delivery of the lot so far from Calvin Harrison, but he's got away with it.
Good side. Statistically, they're 17th out of 18.
Harrison in again and rectifies, but that does not stop Pretorius, who slug sweeps this into the stands. It's another maximum. Calvin Harrison trudges back to the end of his short run up at Pretorius. He's now 30, not outstriking at over 150 here.
I think the one person who doesn't like to see those little events there would be the stadium manager, who has to fix and repair the white plastic bucket seats, because it was one of those that landed in an empty, a vacant bucket seat, and they tend to reverberate up and down very quickly when a ball hits them that hard, and very often they will get a crack in them.
Harrison again and again flies it up, and this is driven nicely by Pretorius. Long off. Patterson lobs it back and a single's taken. I think Harrison will be glad to have the left-handed Leach on strike, who's faced just 2 deliveries.
Yeah, Notts just want to make sure this lead doesn't swell now. It's 9 Somerset in front with 2 wickets left.
Harrison then back round the wicket to the left-hander, as he was for James Rue. In, and this one, On leg stump and turned into the leg side by Leach. He'll get a single off the last ball over. Somerset 370 now for 8. They lead by 10.
Just watching that school party over there. I think some of them are a little restless. Please, miss, will you take me to the toilet? And please, can we go for an ice cream?
Well, they've been given plenty of entertainment by Mr. Pretorius,
well,
haven't they?
They are indeed, but don't seem to be able to sit still for very long. They'll be... when is it? Is it 1 o'clock we can go? Is it 1 o'clock yet, miss? We can go on the outfield and play. But we've got a school party in the red tops. We had one here yesterday. They very much enjoyed their run around on the outfield for 40 minutes during the luncheon interval, and good to see today's school of the day. But lovely to know who they are, and we'll give them a mention this afternoon.
Well, we're going to have another over from Dylan Pennington from the Stuart Broad end, bowling to Jack Leach. He's there, bowls, and Leach defends off the back foot.
What do you make of Pennington, Anthony? There's 1 or 2 people that have been and had a look at him this year, and he's getting talked about in a lot of high places.
I mean, he's a good, honest, fast bowler. He's no Jimmy Anderson. I wouldn't have said there was much to choose between him and Josh Tongue, and I think Ollie Stone is probably a little bit quicker than either of them. Pennington in and bowls, and Leach just sways out of the way of that. He's an uncomplicated fast bowler. Runs in hard, gives it all he's got. Doesn't have much in the way of variations, I wouldn't have said.
At the moment, we're unable to throw in any comparisons with poor old Josh Tongue, who we haven't seen it all this season.
It's Pennington again. He races in, and this is well played by Jack Leach. As it bounces on him and manages to get it down into the offside where there's no fielder. Gives Pretorius the strike. Miguel on 31 from 20 deliveries.
Yes, it did some damage at Taunton when these sides met in April. Was it 77 from 70 balls? He just played himself in and then gave it a little bit of a wallop in the latter stages of his innings.
Pennington to Pretorius, and he will get probably, yes, they come back for a couple of runs. Not sure quite what that came off. Just the bottom edge, I think. He was going for the pull shot, didn't time it at all. Picks up 2 runs as Linda James retrieves it. Down below us, 373 for 8. Pretorius on to 33. We've got 2 saving, 1 on either side. A slip and everybody else out on the boundary. Pennington is there and bowls. And hits Pretorius, and I think on the small of the back, as he was through that pull shot too early. And well, having said that Pennington doesn't have many variations, that I suspect was a slower ball. Slower ball bouncer, and it deceived Pretorius. Shows absolutely no sign of being disconcerted by that. Last ball of the over from Pennington to Pretorius, who goes for a big hit, doesn't time it, and goes up to Ollie Stone at mid-on, and there'll be no run. 373 for 8 at the end of that over. 33 to Pretorius. Jack Leach just has 3 to his name.
Cricket news in the night, of course, is that we know the semi-final lineup for the ICC World T20, with Australia being knocked out. Crikey, crikey. Afghanistan defeating Bangladesh. It was nip and tuck. They needed a couple of late wickets to beat Bangladesh after being bowled out for after being restricted to 115 for 5, and then the rains and Duckworth Lewis target, and Bangladesh were there or thereabouts, but they fell just short. So Afghanistan go through, Australia out. It'll be Afghanistan, South Africa, and England versus India, the two semi-finals. Been watching that, Grace?
Not really, to be honest. Not masses. As in comes Calvin Harrison, and Leach advances down the track, and that's a brilliant diving stop actually, with one hand by Patterson. He prevents the boundary, which it definitely would have raced away to. Brings Pretorius back onto strike though.
A little frustrating that a lot of the good matches have been taking place in the middle of our night. Sort of wake up and find out the score.
Field spread then, as expected for Pretorius, who tries to switch it this one. Not even a reverse sweep, an actual genuine switch it. Swaps his feet over, but misses out. It's probably actually where he wanted it, outside off, but misses out, and we have absolutely no idea what shot he's going to play here. And this time he absolutely smashes it out to long off. Just a single. To be honest, I'm quite enjoying this innings. We have absolutely no idea what's coming.
Good stuff.
Didn't expect to see a switch hit this morning, but...
Can you play the switch hit? Do you practice it?
I actually do. It's actually one of the only things I can play. Not that I'd ever be getting it out in a game.
You ever thought you might be right-handed?
Maybe that's where I've been going wrong all these years. Harrison into the left-hander, this one down leg side, and another loose delivery. He's got his head in his hands, Calvin Harrison, as this will race away to find leg for 4. And just a bit under pressure here, Calvin Harrison, and just starting to maybe fold here. He's been quite expensive in the last few overs, and Somerset now lead by 19 runs.
And the other element in the equation is that Somerset are only 21 runs short of a 4th batting point, and they have 4 overs and 2 balls in which to score 21 runs. And the way these two are going, they could get there comfortably, as long as they don't get out, of course.
Yeah, you imagine if Pretorius stays in for those few overs that they'll reach that quite comfortably the way he's going. As Harrison in again, and this one is slogged away by Leach this time to the long gone boundary, and it goes away for 6. So they're really getting hold of Calvin Harrison here. He's getting hit from both the left-hander and the right-hander here now.
Making a real mess of his figures, poor chap. 2 for 135 now.
Not what you want in your 33rd over, is it really? The long old slog for Calvin Harrison. The only out-and-out spinner in the lineup. So they just give the ball a check, decide it's all good, and 1 ball left for Harrison to get out his over here. See what Leach can make of it as he's in, and this one is played watchfully in defence. Another big over for Somerset. They're now 385 for 8.
Yes, just 15 runs short now of 4th batting point, which I must say I didn't think they would achieve this morning. But it's come about as a consequence of the early wickets, really. I think if Tom Abell and James Rew had still been together, it wouldn't have been anywhere near 385. But it's a combination of Craig Overton, Miguel Pretorius and Jack Leach. Press the accelerator. Pretorius then on 34 is on strike to Dylan Pennington, and Tom Moores wasn't quite ready. He is now. He's got his cap on. He's just got Calvin Harrison for company at slip. Pennington to Pretorius, who piles this away through the onside for 4 runs. He absolutely murdered that. Was that 6? I thought it was only 4.
I thought it was only 4.
4.
But,
I thought that was 4.
Signal 6 straight away. Umpire Ben Debenham.
I swear it was 4.
Me as well. Me as well.
Well, not complaining.
Doesn't seem to be any great protest out there, but sometimes people don't look towards the umpire, don't notice. Anyhow,
he's on to 40 now.
Yep.
Pretorius, 391 for 8. And there's runs here, just be a single. As the throw comes in. Was it the fielder who signaled
yeah.
6?
Apparently so. I'm just trying to see who it is. 392 for 8. Will Young?
Generous fielder.
No, it's Joe Clark. It's Joe Clark. The Yellow Belly's been in touch, reminding me that Tom Keys did have a moment in the spotlight in Nottinghamshire colours. He came on as the sub-wicket keeper in a match down at Chelmsford that Notts won. Matt Milnes, I remember getting Sir Alistair Cook. Did he get him in both innings? But he took 3 catches as Notts won that game. Thank you, Yellow Belly. Yeah, Tom Keys, sub-keeper on that day.
Pennington to Leach, and is caught.
No.
Oh, no, he's not. No, he's not. I beg your pardon. I thought that Hasib Hamid was just imitating the action of the catch.
No, it was chipped over Haynes and just to the left of Hamid, and away it went for 4. And Somerset within another boundary of reaching 400. It's eventful at the moment.
It certainly is. This partnership's now worth 40. As Pennington is in and bowls, and there's 4 more runs here, and that will be the 400. And a 4th batting point for Somerset. Brought up by Jack Leach. It was wide outside his off stump. He went for the cut. He got a thick edge on it, and that was more than enough to take it to the wide 3rd man boundary for 4. He moves on to 22, and the score 400 for 8. And 40 runs is becoming a useful lead.
It is indeed, yeah. And with power to add as well, scoring these runs very quickly.
So Somerset have added 107 so far this morning. Pennington to Leach, and Leach just sways back out of the way of that. 107 in 20. We're just coming up to 22 overs, so they've gone above 4 runs and over.
Do you know what? At midday, I said we've been playing for an hour and they only scored 28 runs in the first hour. We've now had 107 in the session, and we've still got 20 minutes to go until lunch. Yep. So I'll try and.
It's been a very effective counter-attack.
Yeah, I'll try and recalibrate that. How many we've had in the last 40 minutes?
It's Pennington to Leach, drives, but straight to Ollie Stone at mid-off. There won't be a run. End of that Pennington over. He has 24 overs, 3 maidens, 4 for 89. He's not been immune from the carnage.
Yeah, that's 79 in the last 40 minutes, I make it.
Well,
many of those in the last 10 minutes.
Good intelligent hitting.
Yeah. And a purpose to it as well. Get Somerset up to it.
Dave from Cork says of Craig Overton's LBW, he thought it was a bit dodgy, and I think Craig Overton thought that as well, judging by his demeanour as he marched reluctantly back to the pavilion.
There's a need for Nottinghamshire to get a wicket here because there's only 3 overs left in which they can get an extra point as Harrison bowls, and this is going to be another half a dozen as long on and long off turn round and look up towards us somewhere. It didn't trouble our commentary position. I don't think, did it make the middle tier? Maybe not, but it was a big 6, and that's the 50 partnership from 30 balls. Pretorius 28 of them. Jack Leach has weighed in with 22 at the other end, and Nottinghamshire just seeing the recovery which they had thanks to those 3 wickets in quick succession, and then a 4th a little later from Dylan Pennington. Just be all totally evaporated from our memory. As Somerset plough on, they now lead by 46 with 2 wickets left, and Pretorius is on 47, and he goes to 48 as he throws the bat at this one, but can only scuff it out to long on, and Ollie Stone does the fielding. It's a warm morning. We were told it would be around about 28 degrees, 27, 28 degrees here at Trent Bridge today, and if you were with us yesterday, you'll have heard all my mental arithmetic. We reckon that's just over 80 anyway in old money, but it's a warm one. And
28 is 82.4 Fahrenheit.
There we are. It's a warm one. Harrison round the wicket to the left-handed Jack Leach, and Seba Mead has found himself on the leg side and makes a stop. 407 for 8.
Uncomfortable stop there on a used pitch.
Harrison has gone for 142 now, and Jack Leach, whether he read that or not, was able to defend it out onto the offside. Joe Clark
he probably did actually, because he was shaping to tuck it away down the leg side, and then realised it was the googly.
He played it off the wicket. It was so slow on that occasion. Now he rocks forward and defends, pushes it back to Calvin Harrison. 8 wickets have gone down. 4 to Dylan Pennington, 2 to Calvin Harrison. Dane Patterson have opened the bowling from this Radcliffe Road end. He got Lammonby yesterday and Ollie Stone with the other. There's a little bit of turn there, and it comes off the shoulder of the bat.
Played that well, did Jack Leach. Played it with soft hands.
Does the fielding. 407 for 8 at the end of the 108th over. So Notts need a wicket inside the next 12 deliveries. Somerset.
Yes, that's the other element in the equation, isn't it? And
Somerset aren't going to get 43, are they?
No. But they'll want to deny Notts a third bowling point if they can. So we might see a slight change of tactics.
Well, this should be good. Two Rams are going to be butting heads here. Ollie Stone is going to be bowling quickly, and Miguel Pretorius is going to be trying to meet fire with fire, and no doubt try and slap the quick bowler as far into West Bridgeford town centre as he can muster.
Possibly. I don't know. He's an intelligent cricketer, is Pretorius. But, well, he's mostly intelligent. He played an absolutely dreadful shot at the Oval back in his first game for Somerset. Stone is in and bowls, and he pulls this and manages to get some bat on it. It wasn't a particularly convincing pull shot. It was quick from Ollie Stone. And Pretorius rehearses the shot, brings him a single, 408 for 8.
Almost pulled it out of his ear.
Jack Leach, who was hit amidships by Dylan Pennington. But, he's got plenty. No lack of guts, Jack Leach. One, two, three, four, 5 saving, 1 and a slip. The others out on the boundary. Oh! Leach backing away. How that didn't hit his off stump, I really don't know. It was fired in from wide of the crease by Ollie Stone at high pace. Which brings me to a tweet from Peter Stevenson, who asks what the team's opinion is on Ollie Stone's possible selection for Test this year. There's now only Wood, Potts and Archer ahead of him. As Stone is in and bowls, and Leach backing away towards square leg, gets it out into the offside. Fisher and Mahmood not currently playing, and Ollie Robinson seemingly out of favour. I'm not sure about that. What do you think, Dave? Ollie Stone for England?
Might be a little early in his comeback, but on form, on what I've seen this year, yes.
He's bowling quick, isn't he?
Yeah.
And that's what England are looking for. Here he comes around the wicket to Leach, who drives without completely timing it, but it'll bring in 3 runs as Pennington puts in the slide away in the distance.
I think we'll see him in
come back for 3, 411 for 8.
I think we'll see him in white ball cricket before Test cricket for England.
So what do you reckon? Wood, Archer, Robinson? Potts, possibly. Although he's not been 100% fit. I'm not sure if he's playing in the current game. Down the leg side this time from Ollie Stone. And nothing done by Miguel Pretorius. 1 more ball in this over, and then 1 over in which Notts will be striving to pick up the 9th Somerset wicket.
Yeah, just had a dreadful thought as well. 1:45. Of course, if we're 9 down at lunch, then the session would be extended.
Yeah.
Nobody likes that.
Stone to Pretorius. Drives, comes off a thick inside edge. And that is Miguel Pretorius's 50. 50 from 32 deliveries with 4 fours and 4 sixes. A splendidly defiant, calculatedly aggressive innings from the South African, and it's his 3rd 50 of the season for Somerset, and they've all been hugely entertaining to watch.
Yeah, 40 out of 50. By the way of balls that have either gone to or over the rope. Now Notts Grace have got 6 deliveries to get a wicket, otherwise they're going to miss out on a valuable bowling bonus point.
Do you think it's wise, Grace, for Notts to persevere with Calvin Harrison?
I did think he was going to come off a couple of overs ago, in honesty, but I guess that's the issue when they've only got 1 out and out spinner in the side. But
I think I'd bring Dane Patterson back.
Yeah, I don't disagree actually, as Harrison's in and this one's driven into the offside. No run can be taken. That would have been probably the perfect time for Calvin Harrison to take a wicket after we've just been saying it's time for him to get fetched off. It's Harrison in again. Just one pulled into the onside. Should just be a single out there. It will be just a single. Is that Freddie McCann, substitute fielder on?
It's like Tom Loughton to me. Yeah, 24, Tom Loughton.
Tom Loughton.
Good to see him back on the field. He's been out of the game for a wee while with an injury.
Tall lad, isn't he?
Yeah, got him from Yorkshire. This is his 2nd season at Trent Bridge. Or is it his 3rd? No, it's his 2nd. It is his 2nd.
Calvin Harrison in. What does Leach have for him? And this one is keeps low, strikes him. Don't know if it looked like hit him on the pad. Did he get a bit of that bat on it, maybe?
Bat involved as well. Otherwise,
could have been in trouble otherwise.
An appeal.
Harrison would love to pick up his 3rd wicket here, as this one is defended a bit more watchfully, and good run between the wickets between the Somerset pair as they scamper a single. Brings Pretorius back onto strike, which Calvin Harrison probably doesn't want. I don't think I'd want to bowl at him right now. I don't know where I'd bowl it at him because he's hit him over cow long gone. You switch at him, you have no idea what's going to come, do you? He's batted nicely here for his half century, and this one is just pulled away. Hit it hard out to Tom Loughton there, who does the substitute fielding. Slight misfield. Gets away with it. Is that, or was that Ben Slater?
No, yeah, Loughton made the stop, I think, and Slater returned it. They were both out there, 24 and 26. Tall figure of Tom Loughton. Where's he going now?
Well, he's short, fine leg at one end and long on at the other. But I mean, for one batsman, long on for the other.
This final delivery is defended by Leach, and another wicketless over for Notts. Somerset now 415 for 8. The game has really shifted back in Somerset's favour. They now lead by 55 runs.
And the bonus point situation is now settled.
Yeah.
Somerset have 7 and Notts have 5. So assuming this game finishes in a draw, that will leave Notts with 13 and Somerset with 15.
Another bowling unit. Always feel they've sort of missed out a little bit if you don't get the full complement of 9 wickets, 3 points inside 110 overs, but Notts have missed out here. 415 for 8. Still looking to finish this innings as quickly as possible. Somerset's lead is 55.
Pretorius is going to cast caution to the winds. Stone in and bowls, and gets a top edge to an attempted pull shot, which was in the air for a long time, hence the shout of catch, but landed well short of Lyndon James down below us. Brings him just the single. Saunders suggesting a 5th batting point. Well, I'm afraid that's gone by the board, Michael. But 4 is one more than I thought Somerset might get first thing this morning. It's Stone to Leach, and Leach turns this into the onside.
How frustrating is this, Grace? You think you threw a side, and then 9th wicket partnership here, added 60 already.
Yeah, it's brilliant partnership, and Craig Overton doing his bit too, but I've noticed that seems to be the way here sometimes with these county championship games. You think that you kind of threw a middle order, and then, I mean, you see Ollie Stone do it a few times this season for Notts, don't you? They seem to get a bit of a late partnership.
Stone in and bowls to Leach, who will get 4 runs. Nice shot as well. Off his pads, through mid-wicket, out to that short boundary.
And a misfield by Luke Fletcher on the boundary edge.
Oh, there he is. Great man.
Looks like he's just had a gym session. Just making his way back towards the dressing room in time for lunch.
Great entertainment for the the school party in Scarlet.
Yes, yesterday it was a purist sort of day, wasn't it, for the school party that were here yesterday.
420 for 8. The lead now 60. Stone is into Leach. He's up on his toes, just defending that into the onside. Ollie Stone is trying to give Jack Leach the eye. But I don't think Jack Leach should be in the least bit bothered.
Yes, the afternoon session yesterday, I think it was 100 runs for 1 wicket, wasn't it? And we sort of looked at the school children and hoped they'd come back and see more, but thought, what are they making of this?
Yeah, James Whittaker, the match referee, just wandered by as I was waiting to interview Tom Lower, and just said one word. He said, attritional. It's Stone to Leach, who lets that go through to Tom Moores. A yelp of excitement, but Leach having nothing whatever to do with that ball wide of his off stump. We've probably we've got one more ball in this over, so probably 2, possibly 3 more overs before lunch. This will be the 26th over of the morning. So we'll get 28, or I think more like probably 29. We've now got 2 shortish mid-wickets, which suggests that Ollie Stone's going to bowl wide of the crease into the body of Jack Leach, which he does, but Leach is equal to it, defends off the back foot out into the offside. End of that over, 420 for 8, 30 to Leach, 53 to Pretorius. This partnership is now worth 64 from just 53 deliveries, and Somerset have a lead of 60.
You can just imagine being one of the teachers or the schoolmasters up there, and one of the youngsters saying, "Well, what's the idea of the bowl?" "Well, they're trying to hit those bits of wood." Well, nobody's hit a bit of wood in this innings at all. In fact, I was just looking in the Nottinghamshire innings. Of course, the first wicket that went down was the most spectacular sight, I think, of the match, as Asib Hamid saw his off stump sent cartwheeling by Craig Overton. The only other one that's been bowled was Calvin Harris, and he was bowled by Miguel Pretorius. But in this innings, we've had 3 LBWs and 5 catches. Nobody's been able to hit the stumps yet. And what's Asib Hamid doing here? By way of a change or by way of a plan? I think the plan seems to be to Pretorius to send his fielders just as far as they can go. Just keep on walking until you reach a rope and then stop. That's what it seems to be.
Well, I still think there'd be something to be said for bringing Dane Patterson on from this end. I think Calvin Harrison has suffered enough.
And Dane Patterson, I think, would enjoy bowling to Pretorius.
Yeah.
And Pretorius,
South Africans to South Africa.
Yeah, and the mates as well, I think. So might be a little bit in that.
Calvin Harrison in, and this is a good delivery, and it's an attempted sweep and a big appeal, I think, for caught behind and not given. And Tom Moores looks in shock, as does a few of the Nottinghamshire fielders. Well, they seem convinced there, Dave, or do you think they were just trying to convince the umpire?
I think he was having, what's the saying, sixpence one way and a shilling the other, because he was appealing for a catch at one end and turning to the square leg umpire appealing for the stumping at the other. Just a 52-year-old has been in touch, says going to have to bat really well here now, Notts, to get anything out of this game. That may be true.
It's a pretty flat wicket. I don't think it's going to start breaking up.
But you've still got to bat well on it, Anthony.
Well, yeah.
Harrison in again, and this one just catches the outside edge of Pretorius, who doesn't run.
Pretorius thought there was a run there.
Run, Jack, run.
Don't think Jack Leach even left his crease then, to be honest. He's not interested, and rightly so, in honesty. As Harrison in again, and this one driven back to him. I thought it might have been a caught and bowled attempt there, diving to his left, but it must have just been hit straight into the ground. I never have a clue with those. Never have a clue whether they've been hit into the ground or not. Harrison again, and driven through the offside, and Hamid's diving stop can't quite stop it, but only 1 run cost. Lyndon James out there. I think he's done that a few times, to be honest. I think he needs a smaller size. They keep falling down every time he dives.
Well, he needs a smaller cap. I always say that whenever you see Hamid running after the ball, his cap always flies off. Always has done. There's nothing worse, Grayson, when you take a return catch and you believe it's out and everybody else, bump ball. It's a bump ball.
Harrison in again, and this one turned into the onside for a couple, and go right in the gap there as It's Will Young there that gives chase. I think he thought there might have been a man out there at deep square, but there was not. And a poor throw back in, they managed to get 2.
He's played well, actually, Jack Leach, hasn't he?
He has. Well, I just keep saying he got 100 for the seconds, opening the innings last week.
I don't think he'd have been facing much leg spin. I don't know who he got the runs against, which particular bowlers, but I don't think there'd have been much leg spin.
No, I don't think there was.
Harrison in again, and this one punched into the offside, lightly off the back foot, but no run is taken, so better over there from Harrison to finish off. Somerset 423, and they'll probably be 1, maybe 2 overs before lunch, Anthony?
I suspect it'll just be the 1. They're not in any hurry, not so they. I don't think they want to get another over in. And it's Ollie Stone who takes his time anyway. The clock has just ticked over to 12:57, so I suspect this will be the last over before lunch.
Yes.
Somerset have added 130 thus far in the morning session for the loss of 4 wickets.
Last over unless a wicket goes down, in which case 9 down, they'll play on.
Very true. That's very true. It's Stone to Pretorius. He's there and bowls, and Pretorius drives without any timing. It comes off the outside part of the bat down to Ben Slater. Backward points, just a single. Pretorius on to 55. 424 for 8. These two will want to see it through to lunch now.
Strange sort of morning, isn't it? It was very watchful, very cautious, very pedestrian in truth. The first 40 minutes or so, Tom Abell got clonked on the head. Never really found his timing at all this morning. Don't think it was anything to do with that, but just couldn't get going like he had been yesterday when he played fluently and freely. And once he was out, a little bit of a mini collapse.
It's Stone to Leach. Bouncer, which Leach just ducks underneath. I don't understand why that isn't a wide.
No, I'm with you there. But once Craig Overton got out, with the scores just about level, Somerset were 4 behind. He thought, well, there might not be an awful lot in this, but now this partnership worth 66, and it's come about in pretty good time as well.
Yeah, I mean, it was Craig Overton, though, who initiated the counter-attack, wasn't it? With that fairly quick-fire 20-odd. Stone to Leach, who defends.
For listeners to 5 Sports Extra as well, obviously, when we go to lunch, Kevin Howells will pick up the reins and guide you through the lunch period. Tell you what's going on elsewhere. I think he's got 1 or 2 guests lined up to chat to as well, as always. So if you want to listen to that 5 Sports Extra, is your place. Otherwise, assuming they go off at the end of this over, Grace, Anthony and myself will be back around about 20 to 2 for the afternoon session.
It's Stone to Leach. Oh, I thought he got an edge there. Good ball from Ollie Stone. Just got that one to go a little bit off the seam. Yeah. Casey Aldridge, James Rue was out when the score was 321. That was 321 for 7. So the last 2 wickets have added 103.
Yeah.
With Craig Overton starting things off with that 20. He was out 356 for 8. And then this partnership of 68 between Pretorius and Leach, which has taken the initiative completely away from Nottinghamshire. Stone to Leach, who plays this back up the onside of the pitch, and Stone once again having, not sure if he's actually having words with Leach or just giving him the eye.
Scoreboard's reading 1300 in the digital style, so suspect this will be it unless a wicket goes down.
28 overs in the morning session, 131 runs thus far. Last ball then, unless there's a wicket of the morning session. Stone to Leach, and there'll be no wicket there as that's outside the off stump. No shot from Jack Leach, and they will go off for lunch after what has been a very satisfactory session for Somerset. In the end, it didn't look as if it was going to be that way when they were reduced to 321 for 7, but a spirited counter-attack launched by the captain Craig Overton and then carried on by Miguel Pretorius, who finishes with 55 from 41 deliveries, and Jack Leach playing his part as well with a hard-hitting 32 from 36 deliveries. 424 for 8 at lunch.
Thank you very much, Anthony. More from Anthony Gibson this afternoon. Very much enjoyed his company and commentary. And Grace Ballinger, the Blaze fast bowler, will also be back with us. We'll try and get a photo of that of her medal during the luncheon interval and pop that on social media. So Notts 360 at the start of play. 293 for 4 was the Somerset score. They've advanced that to 424 for 8 at lunch, and Leach and Pretorius will come back in 40 minutes time to resume their innings. We'll be here to bring you that. Meanwhile, for listeners to 5 Sports Extra, it's now time to hand you back to Kevin Howells. was highly productive. Not entirely sure the commentary team did anything highly productive. It's a hot one here, everybody's saying on the concourse. A real swelterer out there at Trent Bridge. From the Notts perspective, the viewpoint is, oh, I thought we were through them, Dave, when we had them 8 down. From the Somerset perspective, it's well done, Miguel and Leachy. That seems to be the feeling, but it was a session that saw Notts pick up 4 wickets. But Somerset ending the morning session strongly to go in at lunch 4:24 for 8. A partnership that has stretched the visitors' lead to 64 between Miguel Pretorius, who's got 55, and Jack Leach 32 for best part of an hour and a half. I think Anthony Gibson's been wondering if Calvin Harrison would make way for another bowler at this end, the Radcliffe Road end. You've still not got your wish, because the leg is going to continue after
I don't know
lunch.
what he's done to deserve this. Poor chap.
They'll say to him tomorrow, can he come on and win us the game? Try and get 10 wickets after tea tomorrow.
Steve Hamid has got Dane Patterson and Lyndon James to operate from this end.
We've not seen Lyndon James at all today, have we?
It's very strange, but he'll probably knock over the last 2 wickets in 1 over. He's going to be bowling to Miggy Pretorius. He's there in bowls. Pretorius just eases that through the offside. Patterson is... They're coming back for the second on the throw, and Jack Leach gets there. Those long strides of his characteristic running style.
Couldn't have been a better throw, could it?
Yeah.
Right over the top. Harrison literally took it right over the top.
So was it underway in the afternoon session, 4:26 for 8. This is hit down the ground powerfully, but there's a man down there to cut it off, Dylan Pennington. So it's just the single, 4:27 for 8.
Just been joined by listeners to 5 Sports Extra. You enjoyed your luncheon period in the company of Kevin Howells and guests. 4:27 for 8 here, Somerset leading by 67.
And it's Calvin Harrison bowling his leg breaks and googlies to Jack Leach, who cuts that into the offside but won't get a run as it goes to Ollie Stone at backward point.
I can tell you, Anthony, one Master Roo didn't get his half century this morning, another one did.
Harrison bowls, tossing this one up, and Leach, not to be tempted, just plays it back to the bowler.
James Roo was out in this game, of course. The Somerset batter keeper fell for 49, but his younger brother Tom, playing for the Young Lions against Sri Lanka, out for 60.
Harrison bowls right up in the block hole, and Leach digs it out. Well, good stuff from Thomas Roo.
Yeah, I'll give you the...
One of any number of good young players that Somerset have got coming through from their academy. This is driven by, well, drive is rather flattering. It's an offside shot. It was a bit of a mow from Jack Leach. Didn't bring him a run as it went straight to Dylan Pennington at mid-off. So just the 3 runs off that first over after lunch. 4:27 for 8. Pretorius 58 and Jack Leach at the other end.
Yeah, the nuts and bolts of that. There's an under-19 triangular series going on. England under-19s, Young Lions Invitational 11, and the Sri Lanka under-19s. The Young Lions are playing Sri Lanka today at Loughborough and are batting. They're 234 for 6. Skippered by Archie Vaughan of Somerset, who only got 1 sadly, but Thomas Roo dismissed for 60. 234 for 6 with 13 overs left. Here is Ollie Stone. He's bowled with great pace, only got 1 wicket for 81 as his reward, and his first ball After lunch, he's just worked away on the leg side by Miguel Pretorius. 4.28 for 8 as this Somerset lead extends to one that not quite yet bordering on dangerous proportions, but I think Notts will have to wrap this innings up sooner rather than later. Still Jake Ball to come. He'd like to get some runs on his old stomping ground. His last act on this ground as a Notts player was end of September last year. Last day, the fine farewell, the perfect ending, came to the crease and hit the winning runs as Notts edged home a nervy contest against Middlesex that sent Middlesex down to Division 2. Perfect ending in a sense for Jake Ball. Is Stone round the wicket too. Leach cuts this to backward point, fielded by Will Young. Just one slip, Calvin Harrison. There is a man, I think, down below us at third. It's Lyndon James just clapping, almost toppled out of the window looking to see him. 3 more saving 1 on the offside, and 3 saving 1 on the leg side, and a fine leg as well. Outfield looks ready for a drink, looks parched. Some bare patches just starting to show as Stone bowls, and this off an outside edge through a third slip sort of area, and it's so fine that it can't be cut off by Lyndon James, and Leach gets a boundary. More welcome runs to Jack Leach, fresh from that second 11th century last week, and he's on to 36. 4.32 for 8, and the partnership worth 76.
It was a big 8th wicket partnership for Notts as well, wasn't it, in their first innings?
We'll have a look in a second. It was the 8th or the 9th. 4.32 for 8. Leach on strike on 36, gets a bouncer, goes through to the keeper. Of course, Ollie Stone hung around. Yes, 112 was for the 8th wicket. You're absolutely right. Ollie Stone and Calvin Harrison.
Yeah, so history repeating itself, but Somerset 100 runs ahead, more or less, when the partnership began.
False start from Ollie Stone. I don't know what's happened
There was
there.
nobody moving there.
No, something Jack Leach isn't too happy about, whether it's a spectator in those seats in front of the pavilion or somebody on the Somerset balcony. Just moved a little bit. There's certainly something irritating Jack Leach. In fact, Ollie Stone is either going to do a Wes Hall here and run in from the boundary, or he's gone all the way down to the far end just to point out exactly what it is that's caught the eye line of Jack Leach. And he's still not happy, Leach. I think now we're ready. Stone has to walk forward about 15 yards just to reach the end of his run, and now here he comes, the fair-haired England quick, 30 years of age, bowls to Leach, who defends, pushes it back to him and says, go and do it again. And the lot of the fast bowler, he's got to stomp wearily all the way back to the end of his mark, something that Ollie Stone does quite
fast
well.
bowler in this heat, on this pitch, do you? All that effort for so little reward.
I'm not so sure I want to be a spin bowler either. Calvin Harrison, 37 overs, 2 for 151.
Deep square legs just gone back, so maybe this is going to be short.
Let's see, here's Stone. In 2 Leach, hits him on the pad, asking umpire Debenham, might have been sliding down, but either way, not out. 4.32 for 8 at the end of the over. 1 or 2 comments emerged during the luncheon interval that certainly Craig Overton wasn't too thrilled about his LBW decision, but sometimes you just have to take them on the chin, don't you, and and, and take the decision gracefully and walk off. 4:32 for 8. Somerset lead by 72.
It's not exactly Craig Overton's way, is it? But I haven't seen the video of the LBW, and I haven't seen a replay, so I can't really comment. But certainly, Grumpy Git, Dave from Cork,
captain as well for this game, of course. Craig Overton.
Yeah, it is indeed. Is Harrison to bowl yet another over, short, and played into the offside, and another misfield from Hasib Hamid, who hasn't exactly covered himself in glory in the field. That one just costs him the 1 run, as opposed to the 4 that he conceded in the morning session.
A little bit like a goalkeeper there, Anthony. You're only remembering the one he dived over rather than all those they stopped.
True, but
yeah, one did
fielding
go
standards are so high these days. Oh, this is a leg break which comes back quite sharply, but too short, so Leach could play it off the pitch and just run it up to Patterson at long on.
We are a 3 today. Dave Bracegirdle, Anthony Gibson, Grace Ballinger, who's just finishing a gym session with the rest of the Blaze girls.
This is a good ball, a slightly quicker delivery that from Harrison. Well played by Pretorius, who, having made his point with those 4s and 6s, now just content to knock it around. He moves on to 61, 435 for 8. The lead now 75. Harrison to Leach. Leach back on his stumps, and must be an inside edge there, I think, because otherwise that LBW appeal would have been sustained rather than abandoned halfway through. Harrison bowls, tosses this one up, and there's an appeal for a catch at short leg, which had no conviction about it whatsoever. It was 100% pad, that. And neither Jack Leach nor Neil Mallender moved a muscle. Last ball of the over. Harrison to Leach, tosses it up, and he's gone this time, caught behind. Leach doesn't think he got an edge on it, but a good catch by Tom Moores. Leach looks disappointed, and Neil Mallender giving the decision, wandering over to have a word with Ben Debenham, but is the 9th wicket. 4:35 for 9. Jack Leach gone for 37, caught behind off the bowling of Calvin Harrison. His innings occupying 49 balls with 5 4s and a 6, and a very, very useful partnership with Miguel Pretorius.
Since Jack Leach might have reviewed that, had the option been available, may well have been one of those where his back clipped the ground, so they all heard something. Miles away we are, of course, so I can't say that definitively, but his reaction certainly leads you to think, it certainly wasn't bordering on dissent, but disappointment. But I just wonder if he hit the ground and they all went on that.
Jack Leach isn't given to dissent,
No. But there was disappointment there. There was
clearly, yeah, absolutely. Well, Jake Ball coming out to bat on his return to Trent Bridge.
Those Calvin Harrison figures looking a little better now. 3 for 154. Can he get the last one, or will Ollie Stone be able to add to his solitary wicket? Seems like Dylan Pennington might have to wait a little longer for his first Notts 5. In fact, right now, being the fine team man he is, I'm sure he'd be saying, "Hope I don't get a 5," because that would mean that Ball and Pretorius are going to stick around long enough for a bowling change here. 116 overs have gone in the innings. That partnership was 44, 49, 79 for the 9th wicket. Here's Stone then into Pretorius, short, and has it come off the shoulder or the helmet? But he's not run. It's gone all the way down to his mate Patterson at long leg, and they've not run.
May
and
have come off the helmet.
Yeah, it might have been the grill, but nothing much has happened, except. Nothing much has happened. The umpires are just checking with Pretorius, and out comes the Somerset physio just to check once again that he's okay. And again, we'll have, I'm sure, in fact, they're stopping the physio.
Jamie Thorpe being sent back.
Yeah. I think if it's the grill, well, I don't know. I won't expand on that. Other than, if it was the grill, he said he's okay. It's certainly not going to be the full concussion protocol, rather than if it's clonked him on top of the helmet. But
interesting, they didn't take the run. It looks like Pretorius is going to try and farm the strike.
Either that or he knew would be called a dead ball straight away.
Ah, indeed.
Maybe, I don't know. Nice bouncer from Stone. What's he got? There's a follow-up, second ball of the over. Comes Ollie Stone bowls, and this one, oh well, now we do know the answer, because this one didn't get up too high, but it was again helped this time by way of the bat down to long leg, and they don't take a single. No faith in Jake Ball, who has a best that he achieved many moons ago. In fact, the moon was just a little tiny rock in the sky when he got his 49 here. Against Warwickshire, right at the start of his career. Seem to think he slapped one or two into the Smith Cooper stand on that day. Here's Stone in again. Now Pretorius slaps this one down the ground, and my word, that's an explosive hit with not much backlift, and that's gone one bounce into the advertising boards in front of the pavilion for 4, but it wasn't too far away from a 6. Terrific shot. 439 for 9.
Just have a. Oh, I think we've gone off.
.439 for 9. Ollie Stone comes in again and bowls, and this is again helped down to long leg. If you're watching the live stream, hopefully you didn't lose us for a second or two, but as we lost power for a second, I'm sure those of you following us on the BBC Sport website and app might just have wondered what had happened. He missed maybe a ball, maybe nothing. 440 for 9 is the Somerset score. Pretorius has eventually, at the third time of asking, taken a single down to the long leg, which brings Jake Ball onto strike for the first time against his former county. He didn't play in the match at Taunton in mid-April. 440 for 9 in the 117th over, and I suspect it's going to be a few seconds yet before we have the next delivery, because Stone and Mead are moving fielders hither and thither, deciding what sort of field setting they want. There's producer Kirsty confirming that we're going out on all channels at the moment. Thank you, producer Kirsty. 440 for 9. Don't know if she went and had a gym session during the luncheon interval or not. Auntie and I considered it briefly.
For that.
Yeah.
Bit warm for that.
So here is Stone, manning right under his nose on the offside for Jake Ball. Ollie Stone bowls. Ooh, sniff the leather. He says as that's banged in short, goes past the nose of Jake Ball and through to Tom Moores.
If that was Jake Ball, I'd have been retreating towards the square leg umpire. That delivery from Ollie Stone.
Yeah, me too. Played a lot of cricket in my time, but certainly not faced anybody anywhere near the pace of some of these guys, especially Ollie Stone, who's right up there amongst the quickest. 4:40 for 9. The lead is 80. That's top order when it's their turn. Are going to have to really contribute. Stone bowls and Jake Ball digs it out. There's no run.
Good ball, well played. Looking for that full and straight delivery. Knock the stumps over.
21 years ago today, Anthony, 2003, the first T20 century was scored. Only 21 years ago today, and it was, I won't say who scored it unless you just happen to know that offhand, but Ian Harvey of Gloucestershire against Warwickshire at Edgbaston. Got there of just 50 balls, but that is, it's very much still a relatively modern experience, T20 cricket. Ian Harvey was a fine player, wasn't he?
Field spreads for Pretorius, who launches that away for an enormous 6. Has that gone over? I think it's gone over the Smith Cooper stand, and it's out into the new car park for the Dave Bracegirdle retirement home.
Yeah, well, I've seen one or two headed over there, but not many.
Well, the pitch is right on that side of the ground. Even so, it was a fine hit.
Yeah, it was high, wasn't it? I mean, it's as you say, the distance between the strip we're playing on and the boundary is short, but to get the elevation, to get it high up over the top of the stand, that's a mighty blow. And yeah, there's a large part of yesterday we're not trying to get the ball changed.
They've got it changed now.
Maybe that was a way to do it. Just serve up one of those yesterday. Not that Harrison did serve it up. It was a magnificent blow from Pretorius, who's gone to 72, and if memory serves, was it 77 or something?
77,
at Taunton.
Yeah.
He got against Slane bowling attack.
72 from 51 deliveries. That's his 5th 6, and the biggest of them all, I would venture. Down the leg side, and he's looking to sweep that. I thought for a moment he'd been bowled around his legs.
I did, yeah.
It's a sensible option for Calvin Harrison, because he is getting his leg break to turn out of the bowler's footmarks outside the right-hander's leg stump. This is a full toss, though, and it's just slammed down the ground for 4 runs. And that brings Pretorius to 76. And poor Calvin Harrison, I honestly don't know what he's done to deserve this. 3 for 164